Inevitable.
There is only one path to peace: the Avengers' extinction.
Avengers, assemble!
Widow style.
Friday, lock and load.
This is for Pietro!
More matches, more rewards. Earn exclusive rewards throughout the mid-season finals via Twitch drops, in-game missions, and in-game predictions.
Hello and welcome everybody to day 4, our final day at LAN here live in LA. And day 3, if you missed it, it started off with civil war between the regions. I opened the show by saying everybody thinks they're the best region, Gaskin, Dogman, but they had to kind of prove it to each other first before the rest of the world. Dog, you handled the business of what was Na'Vi versus VP. That was a rematch of the grand finals from last year.
Yeah, speaking about the business, Na'Vi looked like the CEOs of a top corporation. VP, on the other hand, got smoked, but it was still a really good matchup when you look back at the series between Na'Vi and VP. They put up a good fight, but VP, on the other hand, didn't look like the same form that they were back at the grand finals. Na'Vi reclaiming again that top 3 spot with the win today and make themselves another top team yet again.
I really think VP struggled in the ban phase as well. They gave that one to Na'Vi for me. They really didn't find their footing at all, gave far too much one-sided affairs on their side. So I think looking into it, dropping down to the lower bracket, I was expecting a lot more after that fact, and Na'Vi took for the bans.
Yeah, it was a story of revenge, right, for one team, but they haven't really looked back, Na'Vi, after losing that grand finals, because this year has been their year against VP, right? So they send them on down, and we thought that matchup with Rad was going to be going a lot of a different way, right? I said Destiny has a name, and her name is Rad. Obviously, we'll be talking about that through today. Rad versus VP. Gaskin, I want to throw it to you because that matchup in particular, I think, kind of told us the rest of what we were going to see today and just how Rad plays with the pizzazz, as Ryan put.
I mean, I remember people were saying right at the start of this tournament during play-ins, Rad are the team to watch. They are the giant killers. They are the underdogs. They're the dark horses of this tournament. This was the series where we were really going to find out whether they could prove that here and then. They were the team that took down a VP that sadly, I think they just felt a bit flustered after dropping down into that lower bracket. Rad took full advantage of it. Crazy Kitty is the promised land, and I cannot wait to see more of Rad.
I mean, Dogman, if you look here as we do say goodbye to VP, what sets up today? Well, let's go to the other side real quick and look at Swamp Gaming versus TLC. This was another more the same. You know, we saw the story written before it took place, and that game was lightning quick, Dogman. We thought maybe we would see a different side of Swamp Gaming. TLC looked all business. Yeah,
absolutely. TLC, all business, like you said, and that's the problem with Swamp Gaming that we've always seen in Stage 1. Gaskin, you were there for that. I mean, Swamp Gaming still a little brother to TLC.
They are, and I do feel like TLC have their number a little bit, but Swamp Gaming just fell victim to the same old story where I think they tried to overcomplicate the lock and ban phase a little bit, and even though I understood why they went that direction, always TLC have an answer time and time again for them.
Yeah, and it just feels like, I mean, TLC and Na'Vi, we've, again, talked about it all year, back and forth, and here we are. Of course, you know, we expected the expectation, I guess, of what is going to be for day 4, and that is going to be our upper bracket. 2 teams just absolutely great in the most high talent that we have in this entire game. But wait, there's the under bracket there of Rad that one of them are going to have to play against. Now, of course, when Swamp and Rad went up against one another, I was not expecting at all a 3-0.
I wasn't. I had so much faith in Swamp. I thought that, okay, yeah, they lose to TLC. We've seen this before. We know what that page looks like, but now we turn over a new page. What can they do here against an EMEA team that have, yes, they've been on a run, but potentially underdogs? Swamp Gaming, they looked flat. They looked disappointing on the backline at times. There was a few mistakes being made, and that's to be expected because there's a lot of new LAN players here. A lot of these kids haven't played before, but that's on both sides. Both teams hadn't had this experience, and sadly, it was Rad who came out firing.
You said flat like a chicken wing from Wingstop. They really just did not have what it takes versus the top EMEA teams. They just happened to keep getting top 3 every single LAN, at least in the grand finals last year. It was all in VP and Na'Vi, kind of a similar boat, except with new faces on the block.
It's who shows up, because we can't forget the story and the amazing players of Gen G, and Swamp looked all the part against them. Gen G played a very good tournament through this entire thing. We said goodbye to them today as well. But when it's any given day in this game, again, with Rad and 100 Thieves, that was completely different Rad. You can forget that team. It's new here today, and that's exactly who's going to be in the lower bracket awaiting the matchup of Na'Vi and TLC. I know it's bright and early. Wake up, grab coffee, whatever you need to do, because it's going to be an absolute banger, and look out for it. It's all starting right here, right now. Take a seat, get ready.
Look inside you, can you feel it? The spark in you, ready to unleash it all. Wake up, open your eyes, raising up the fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift enters yet again.
right, Los Angeles, let me hear one more time for our incredible musical talents to open up today's show. My goodness, did they understand the assignment? Thank y'all so much. I'm so hyped. I remember back in December for the opening theme, to this day, and for that to come to the live stage is just so damn exciting, if I'm being honest. We have an awesome day for you, whether you joined us on day 1 all the way to day 4, bronze ranked to 1 above all casual. I don't even care if you're just walking around Times Square in Cocoa Beach. There's gonna be some surprises. Big time talent on the biggest stage for Rivals. Welcome to the mid-season finals, last day. Let's hear it, LA. Well, folks, I'm your host, Cozy, and let's go ahead and get this thing started, yeah?
It's time, Los Angeles, California, where stars are born and the impossible becomes possible.
The crook is closing on the nose of the but still they believe it's winnable. Na'Vi say we don't need it. Because of their failure to finish the attack, it's not going to matter.
Then we will beat you again.
Gets slightly wrong. Trucks to the room. Fall to Citadel. Like damage boost. I don't think it's going to be enough tonight. Execution.
10 teams, 4 regions. The wait is over. The world is watching. This is Ignite.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. First up, let me just hear a couple of the teams that we have remaining today. Let me hear it if you're going for Team Na'Vi. Okay, we're in America. Somewhat expected. How about Team Liquid Citadel? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, all right. How about Team Rad, our underdogs in the lower bracket? Let's go, y'all. Listen, this is our 3rd one of these incredible lands, and it just feels like each one gets more exciting, more chaotic, and we're just getting on the birth of something beautiful. Now, if you don't know, you should know, we have an incredible person at Marvel Games who is the executive producer himself, creator of Luna Snow, and wrote that song you just heard. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Danny Coop. I'm so surprised. You Luna head to toe. I'm so surprised. Come join me over here, Danny. Danny.
Good morning, Los Angeles.
Danny, how I have to ask, first of all, can we just talk about that performance for a second? What were your thoughts immediately?
It is fantastic. We have grown so much in terms of stage presence, and today is just the start of the stage presence, and we're gonna introduce more music and inject this into the life of all the fans.
Oh, more music, inject it into life for the fans. Love to hear it. Let me ask this. I mean, for myself, when you look at esports in general, I think Marvel is so perfect for it because anyone can jump in and know exactly who Spider-Man is, even though you only see him for a couple of seconds here, if I'm being honest.
Got enough Spider-Man.
Well, that's what's beautiful about it. Is that something that you saw early on for Marvel and the potential that it had for Marvel Rivals?
Yeah, we saw this potential with the NetEase Games team. That's why we make this game. And we appreciate the community support on this and all your feedback, all your passion, that what makes this happen, right? So if you continue on letting us know this is what you want, we'll make this happen more often. For all you guys to gather together, hang out, and be a community and be part of this esports.
Beautifully said. I've got to ask with that, thank you. People love you here. People love you here. Yes. I'm hearing more from that in the T-Boat shows. Hey, listen, let me ask this. I mean, we've done now a few events in person together, from Comic-Con to LA. I mean, we've been all over.
Yes.
It never gets old for me just having people that love this game, and Marvel for that matter, in one room. Comic-Con being one of the craziest of all of that. For you, I mean, it's just a beautiful celebration of everything that Marvel Games and NetEase has put together. Does it ever get old? How are the feelings for yourself?
Well, it never gets old. As you say, we meet new fans that come online and it approaches, letting us know how much they love this game, and which we appreciate it. We have people that come out and say, stop giving Luna Snow many, many costumes. But yeah, she's getting 5 more legendaries just for that.
5 more.
Yes.
Can we make it 6? Let's make it 6. Listen, okay, they want to ask, okay, because I hear all the time. Are you responsible for all the buffs that Luna gets from time to time?
Oh man, that's Big Z. Don't bug me on.
Oh, okay, Ji Young, you get called out, Ji Young.
Don't bug me on balancing. It's not me, bro. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
I just want to ask you, anything else you want to say to all the amazing people, the viewers at home, the watch parties across the board?
First off, for viewer at home, we wish you were here with this incredible energy from the crowd. And for the crowd here, welcome to Los Angeles. This is the first Ignite in Los Angeles. You know, maybe we'll do more here in Los Angeles where you can meet a lot of...
Alrighty, and when is Thanos Dr. Doom coming to the game? Just kidding. Thank you so much, Danny.
All right, thank you. I'll see you guys everywhere here.
Appreciate y'all. Well, y'all, you have heard them all week. You have heard the ultimates in the game, the powerful taunting of enemies, slaying their foes, the incredible talent behind the amazing heroes that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, viewers, for the voice actors of Marvel Rivals. I cannot tell you enough, these people are like family to me at this point, and my goodness, the amount of iconic voice lines. This game has transcended just being a game at this point from the memes and on. I'm first gonna come over here to the amazing, actually, I won't even introduce you. How about you introduce yourself here? How are you?
Hi, I'm Brittany Cox, the voice of Angela, and come on! Balls!
Beautiful. I never get so. I need that as my ringtone. I'm telling you. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Erica Lindbeck, and I do the voice of Black Cat. Ooh, good boy, Petey!
I changed my mind. I actually want that as my ringtone. That's getting a little bit better. I love it. How you doing today?
Hey, man. Hi, Jordan Reynolds, the voice of Adam Warlock. And y'all need a res? Born again!
James Mathis III, voice of Black Panther.
Tremble before burst! I saw two strategists just leave the building, funny enough. Oh man, just cut viewership by half. Okay, how are you?
Hi, I'm Bill Millsap. I'm the voice of the Punisher. I'm sure you guys have heard this lately. Judge, jury, executioner!
Oh, there's a lot of love and hate. All right, there's a lot. Before I even get, those that love Jeff, make some noise. Okay. On the other side, those that, you know, maybe not the big, okay, who hates Jeff here? Let's just be real here. It's very polarizing. Hi, how you doing today?
John, the Jeff the Land Shark Bailey. And you know what? I haven't had breakfast this morning, and the enemy team looks pretty good. Yummy, yummy, ow, ow, ow.
Good sir. It's not often I look up. I just have to say, this is awesome. How are you?
Very good. Hello, everybody. I'm Eli Mountjoy, the voice of the Winter Soldier.
Armed and dangerous! Again!
Hello everyone, my name is Alpha Takahashi. I voice Psylocke, and this is Churro Mayo Curry.
Churro Mayo Curry! Ji Young buff Psylocke again. Well, yeah, I play her. All right, thank you.
Hey everybody, I am Daniel Marin, the voice of Namor.
Imperious Rex! Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for amazing voice actors. Again, we'll be hearing more from them today. That's just a little bit of a tease. And again, all day, they'll be out there signing incredible, awesome stuff. And if you're here in LA, that's one of the best parts about it. Go see them. They're amazing people. They don't bite. I think John maybe bites a little bit. But other than that, they don't bite. We've got an awesome day. Des, take it away. What do we have in store?
From experience, John definitely bites. Oh, Desk, hello, different Desk, hello. I heard Desk, but it is going to be us, at least temporarily. You saw a little bit of a sneak preview of our casters who will be jumping on for that first setup. We have so many good games today, but we have had so many good games so far, Vodable.
Yeah, I mean, it's been one of the best and most competitive events we've had so far in Marvel Rivals esports history. And taking a look at the playoff bracket, there's no match that I have not had a fun time experiencing. I mean, every single one, banger after banger after banger. But I think the big one for me from that first day here, Shib, got to be that Gen G versus Virtus Pro.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun. I mean, and now we're going into best of fives, too. I think a lot of the teams were talking about those best of threes being a little dicey. Now it's going to get into more studying the team that you're going against as we see Na'Vi and Team Liquid Citadel up first. That is quite a match, Tetch.
That is going to be a superb match. That is our upper bracket finals. Winner moves on to the grand finals. For Na'Vi, it would be essentially their third grand final in a row. They were under the org of Rad at mid-season finals last year, where they went and took the whole thing. They were then under the org of Na'Vi for the grand finals last year, where they came second place to Virtus Pro, who are out. Your bugbear has been eliminated. Team Liquid Citadel, though, that is a mix of so many teams who have come so close in the past. We'll be breaking that down more a little bit as time goes on, because obviously that will be our first match. But waiting in the lower part of the bracket, from MRC all the way through to the lower bracket final, Shib, it's Rad.
Yeah, the real David versus Goliath. This team coming all the way from the MRC, pushing all the way to the lower bracket finals here.
In their first LAN.
Yeah, it's actually nuts. This team may have the same org behind them, but none of them have been here before.
Vod, this has been such an incredible series. Their match versus Swamp was so close at times, and yet Rad. It was Swamp's first time on the stage as well when it comes to this event in total, but it's Rad are the ones who came on through, and they have a pretty big history in terms of Na'Vi and Liquid Citadel from earlier on in that tournament. This is our schedule for today. Na'Vi Citadel, as we've already mentioned, we're so excited.
Yeah, best of fives across the board, best of 7 to close things out. No advantage. You got to go straight in and showcase your skill and see if you can get the lion's share of that prize pool a bit later on. But I mean, there's so much pride for these teams to compete for, right? Na'Vi trying to run it back as they used to be the Rad EU roster, but $160,000 for the first place finishers. That's a big chunk of change.
That's a very big chunk of change. Another white. You can see the difference between that and that second place. Second place, it's nothing to sniff at in terms of actual, pride, but doubling the prize pool, Shib, when you get to that first place, everyone wants that. Who wouldn't?
Yeah, I do. I'll tell you that much. But also, I mean, I was talking to some of the players. The money means a ton, but it's the title. The title is everything to these teams. They just want to get that under their belt, and then they'll move on from there, but the money definitely doesn't hurt, Vod.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of questions that we've had, going into this event. What's going to be the big focus for these teams, especially with Season 9, the new team-ups, everything coming in, all the preparation that they have been leading to at this moment, and now we're down to these final 3 teams. Na'Vi, I think for Terra specifically, he got denied his win before when he was on 100 Thieves by Na'Vi before, so joined the enemy side, and now is looking for his first LAN victory. Team Liquid Citadel, on their side of things, they have Envy veterans from that team from mid-season last time, and then FlyQuest from Grand Finals. They're looking for their first win, and Rad, of course, the new kids on the block here, looking to make their name known, the dark horses in this competition.
It's also the series of, we'll call it gentle traitoring, coming on in, as it's the match where we've had 2 players who've swapped regions. Polly, who played on Berber Patapim, the original Citadel roster that came to LAN and had so many good performances, but was never able to take it home. And a similar story, Shib, Terra. We talked about it. You talked about how the title is most important to some of these players.
Yes.
Terra literally said on stage, I'm just here to win LAN.
Yeah.
He just wants to win. Nothing else will do.
Yeah, I respect that. I mean, there's so many comparisons between these teams. Energy, and we were talking about Terra. Energy's also in that conversation for one of the best duelists. They've both been running a lot of Bucky, too, in this tournament. Maybe we'll see the mismatch back and forth, or the match back and forth. Vess and Raj, Energy, Terra, Fate, Nero, Cooper, level 1 Crook, Jerky, Speedery, Terra, Energy. There's just so many comparisons between these 2 teams. I'm just looking to see. I think this is going to set the tone for the day, because there is a chance, I'm not going to say a good chance, maybe a good chance, this is what we see in the grand finals.
We'll break a little bit into a little bit of pre-game analysis before we have our teams coming to the stage here. So we'll start off with you, Shib, here. You just listed off essentially most people's fantasy team between 2 teams, but widely considered. A lot of people coming into this tournament were considering this, like you said, to be the grand finals.
Sure.
And that's because these 2 teams have some of the best players in the world, if not the best players in the world.
Yeah, I mean, that is true, right? There's comparisons to be made across the board. The stat lines from both of them are top-notch across all of the roles. There's really, you know, we talk about sometimes there's a weakness between teams. It's very difficult to find weaknesses in these teams, Vod.
I think the big thing that we need to focus on for this matchup, though, the battle of the duelists, Energy versus Terra. Who is going to be the best in this matchup and in the world, potentially? I know we've seen some great looks from Smashnez in the lower bracket, from Rad as well, with Crazy Kitty. Them as a duo, I think, it has overwhelmed a lot of teams, but individual duelists, it's got to be Terra versus Energy.
Chip, I had you on a show I do on YouTube recently where I asked you to basically talk when you heard like someone who could be an MVP for the entirety of this stage. You said Polly. Our coworker got Moxie. She basically waited all the way to the end and then yelled at me because I did, out of the players that I had just randomly grabbed, I didn't have Crook or Fate on the team. And that is because Na'Vi's backline is just legendary.
Yeah, I mean, that same argument can be made over for Team Liquid Citadel, but yes, Na'Vi's backline is legendary. We saw Fate yesterday get caught in the backline of the opposition, just hid there.
As an Adam.
The next fight as Adam. I was like, what am I seeing? I saw him in the hotel and I shouted that out. He's like, I don't know why they didn't chase me. I'll just take them all out. I was like, that's the kind of energy that you need to move this deep into the tournament.
And energy is what you need, whether it's the player or the feeling, just to be able to get this far, especially if you are in that lower bracket. Some of the toughest matches you can go through here are fighting through that upper bracket, losing, and then having to fight for the lower bracket and then the grand finals. You can conceivably play 3 series today if you go down from that upper bracket, Vod.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an endurance run for whoever does fall from this upper bracket. We saw in the grand finals, FlyQuest and members from FlyQuest are now on that Team Liquid Citadel team having to do just that, but couldn't pull it off. So hopefully Team Liquid Citadel, if they do go down against Na'Vi, they will be able to do the same this go around.
We have set the stage in terms of our stakes, but it's time to set it in terms of a literal stage. It's time to meet our team, so let's head down to Cozy to introduce our legends.
Thank you, Tetcher. Y'all, history, if you think about it, is pretty ruthless, right? It doesn't remember who almost won. It doesn't remember the strongest team, per se. Fan favorites is great, but come on. There's only one thing that is cemented, and that is the one team that lifts the trophy. Second place, no. Third place, no. It's one. Are y'all ready, LA, to crown a champion today? Let's go! Now, for the moment you have all been waiting for, this is the matchup. Your top seed from the EMEA, the Kings of Europe, versus the #1 seed of America in the Titans that we know. Let's welcome in our teams, starting from and hailing from the EMEA. It's Na'Vi. Your land historic final boss, best in slot across the board. The Kings have arrived in cowboy fashion. Thanos who? It's Na'Vi. From Trust Me to Raj, level 1, Crook, Fate, Jerky, and Terra. I like the fit today. Before we get to them, though, of course, America, can I hear some noise? LA, make some noise for Team Liquid Citadel! Every great tournament has one team everyone expects to see on Championship Saturday. This was that team, the Dream Team, the USA Avengers, Nero, Cooper, Energy, Speedery, Bess, and Polly. All right, Na'Vi, TLC, Polly, Terra, come with me, step up here. We've got ourselves can we hear some noise, by the way, right now for these two great teams? Now, if you don't know, Na'Vi has Terra coming on over from America last year. Paulie, over from the EMEA. I'm going to go to you, Paulie, first. Look at that Terra over here. All you've heard about Na'Vi. I'm going to give you the floor as you look at this man in the eyes.
Hello. Hello, Terra. How are you doing?
He hit him with nervous, Terra said. Terra?
What's up, Paulie? You betrayed your country first, I had to betray mine.
Paulie! Is all this overhyped? Is all this just fluff? Is America the best region in the world?
Yes.
Don't put too much heat behind that, all right? The people can't take it behind it. Terra! America, one team region. We've heard it all. The path goes through EMEA. Oh, is this all true? Is this why you left?
I mean, two EU teams, one LAN. So why'd you go to NA?
I mean, to help her, of course, but it's gonna happen. I'm gonna lift that trophy.
Last words, Tara. TLC is
OTPs.
OTPs. For those at home, one-trick ponies.
Okay, but not enough.
Okay, but not. Listen. We're gonna get this out. You got something? Come on. Give me. What you got?
What, for Na'Vi?
Whatever you want to say.
I mean, I just said, you guys are okay, but it's unfortunately not enough.
Okay, let's hype it up, crowd. Let's go. We'll let the gameplay do the talking. Shake hands. Oh! Hey, some things. He emoted. He ulted just then. All right, folks, give it up for the 2 #1 seeds right now. That moment's happening. Take it away. Up in the booth, Leg Day and Ryan to bring in the heat.
Thank you so much, Cozy. Team Liquid Citadel may have had one trick thus far, Ryan, but that trick has been winning.
It's been winning for a while. It's been 105 days since Team Liquid Citadel lost a series in the upper bracket of preseason, but it's been 120 days since we saw Na'Vi losing to Heretics in the preseason groups. These teams, 4 heroes have come out in that time since these guys have lost, and one of them has to lose in the upper bracket today in its best of 5.
This matchup is part of the reason why we all came to LAN, to be honest. Everyone has an opinion on EMEA versus the Americas, and honestly, I cannot wait to see who is going to come out of this on top.
It's going to be an exciting one, but to really prep this domination map that we're starting off with, let's throw it to the desk to really set the scene.
As they said beautifully there on the caster desk, domination is how we have described both of these teams so far, and that is
So
where
true.
we start.
I love that.
I love Polly's statement here. He wants to try and do what Terra never could. Ironically, bring a trophy to an American team. But in order to start that, as always, we're in our best of 5s. We start on domination, and we've got some pretty solid stats to start here, Ship.
Yeah, you mentioned domination for these teams, but how about this stat? 26 domination maps in a row here for Team Liquid Citadel. This is just their mode. They showed some weakness on a sub map over the last series, but despite that, still coming out on top VOD.
What's interesting, too, for domination here as well for Na'Vi is that's kind of was their struggle against Team Heretics, right? We saw them be the first team to really take it to task against them with this kind of crazy composition of just speed and dominance, using Jeff and diving into the backline with Captain America and Venom, and they just didn't know what to do against it. That was on Hell's Heaven, but every other map, they have also been just as dominant.
Well, let's talk about the sub-map that we're actually starting over here. As we can see, a little bit of tournament stats so far. It's going to be Krakoa, where we will be bringing this to bear, VOD.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Krakoa specifically, all until this event, Na'Vi 7-0 with 2-0 finishes on the map. Didn't drop a single sub-map until Virtus Pro took one against them yesterday. But we saw the Krakoa map that time, and they looked pretty good on it.
Yeah, showed some weakness. Again, I think domination, there are times where you just simply will lose a map, whether it's the alt fight coming through first. I think if you take point first, it typically lends your team to have a better chance at winning that sub map. But that being said, there still is some huge potential for you to come back, maybe a portal play or just some overconfidence, some good neutral fighting to come back and take the map. But despite that, yes, both teams have lost a sub map recently.
The strategy on this map, you talked about losing sub maps. Domination is one of the most interesting game modes we have, which is why it is, well, not why it is, it's just the best mode to start us off here with. But it's so interesting because it's the only game mode where Ultimate Charge carries over between rounds, which, like you said, sometimes it's worth losing that middle point or even a first point if time is necessary in order to make sure that you get a better advantage as time goes on the point after.
What's so interesting about this map as well, Tetcher, yesterday, Fate did not go down a single time on the Rocket Raccoon. So if I am Team Liquid Citadel, I'm going to be targeting that.
We're preparing to head on into that first map very shortly. I am so excited. This is what we've been waiting for. We expect this to be the grand finals. We get it in that upper bracket finals. This is terrifying, Chip.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some comps we can expect to see, right?
Yeah.
Both of these teams are willing to run the penny stuff with Ultron. I think Speedery is arguably one of the best Ultrons in the game. Is that going to be a priority target? Are they worrying about the Mag one side? Are they worried about the Gambit one side? What do you think?
I think we're going to see Gambit saves for the most part, or Gambit and Mag saves going back and forth depending on what the prioritization is there as well. Gambit's really good for that penny composition.
Yeah.
But I also think for the side of Na'Vi, they're going to focus on triple damage boost. Cosmic Guard Amplifier from Rocket Raccoon, that's his ultimate for those who don't know. The Invisible Woman Flame Shield, which is basically makes her shield have 20% damage boost with the team up from Torch that was introduced this season. And then also having the Storm just ray of damage boost that's around them, or the circle around her. So that's so much damage to deal with. Punisher as well. We saw the Punisher voice actor earlier. We saw Terra doing a pretty good job on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, and they could also run the Atom too, right? With the team up with Storm. We've seen that sometimes come into play where you do get another damage boost source that way.
And speed boost too.
Yeah, that is also on the table there, Ted.
We've been seeing some incredible Atoms. We've been seeing some incredible Punishers. We've been seeing Storm coming on in, as we've already mentioned. We've also been seeing the rise of the Master of Magnetism in the front line. All the way from Duep on Gen G, to Rajaro on Na'Vi, to basically everyone who has been playing in this tournament. The Master of Magnetism has been so impactful.
Yeah, multiple people even on TLC. We've seen we've seen Energy on the Mag at one point too. I think they're just kind of floating it to whoever can't fill that role for the moment on Triple Vanguard comp.
Yeah, a lot of people, saying Vest the best mag of the game, definitely the best in Americas, but the best in EMEA is Rajaro. We saw them have it first saved every single map. They've only had to play 4 because they had not dropped a single one so far.
I want to get your takes on this. Raj obviously discussing, Vest obviously discussing on Mag, but do you think Mag, in my personal opinion, I believe Mag is a new prio target of bans. Do you think Mag over one-sided Gambit is the way? Because it has been back and forth this entire tournament.
I think so. I think Mag is the way to victory, to salvation for the mutants and for Na'Vi and Team Liquid Citadel. Hopefully they have picked up that as well.
Bob with the Magneto was right, and I am not too far off on that, because, like you said, the Magneto has been so strong. It works well with the Gambit, which we've also seen a couple teams go for maybe first protects on, but it feels like the Magneto is giving a bit more value. The extra shieldings, the double ups, the extra protection for your team, and of course, Meteor M being used so aggressively this tournament.
We also got to talk about the team up, though. The Chaos Greatsword that comes from Scarlet Witch. The base version, for those who don't know, there's a base and enhanced version. If you have one of the members from your team up on your team, gives you a little bit of extra effects. You don't really need that, though, with this team up. You can just basically target the back line every time with this huge hitbox of the swinging sword. I know as a Vanguard main yourself, Shiv, you probably use that a lot.
Yeah, you're throwing walls at him. I mean, it's kind of nice, but no, I think that's incredibly strong. But we've been seeing a lot of rise of Atom too. It's so tricky because I really don't know what the solution is for the ban phase. I think teams are struggling with that. Yeah. And the crazy thing is, we like to say when we get to midseason that the metas are starting to be figured out, but I think due to having 102 new team ups coming in plus, it really is so difficult to fine tune what the right selection is for your team, and that ultimately makes bans very hard.
You know what's very interesting? We saw Danny Koo with his whole Luna Snow get-up. Luna Snow's actually had some prioritization in terms of bans and saves, especially when you're trying to play that Daredevil, give them the Snowflake, and they can be unleashed.
They're doing so much work. The Fate of Both Worlds has been, since Season 0, since the game's release, one of the most impactful ultimates in the game, and Luna has been so effective. She does pretty reasonable damage, which was buffed many seasons ago at this point, but means that they're able to do some pretty good work when their team doesn't need healing. The Idle Aura gives so much healing to their team, even when they're not directly in front of them, and of course, has Icicle Arts for a hit scan ability to make sure that they can even do a little bit of anti-air or some quick snipes if need be, and get piercing healing. Luna has been so impactful, and this patch in particular with the Fox team up and last patch has been huge.
Yeah, I think team ups, I typically like to say that Vanguards get the most impactful team ups, in my opinion, of course, but I do think there are certain strategists, including the Gambit team up with Magneto, which I think is very good at isolating targets, also is essentially like a cloak bubble for your team. But then outside of that, the cleanse from Luna. You mentioned how Luna has been more of a prio. I guarantee you, and I promise you, that is why. No longer worried about things like Groot, even Angela. You find yourself out of those unescapable situations.
Yeah, you can just get out of dodge as quickly as possible and save yourself and your team even. And a lot of setup plays that we've seen from people like Ducky trying to use the Groot ult to take out a single target, they've been cleansed every time by the Luna Snow players. So we're going to see some really high-level strategist gameplay from both of these teams. And I think that's something to look out for, right? Fate versus Nero in specifics to that Adam Warlock you were talking about. But I'm very interested in level 1 Crook versus Cooper.
As am I. This has been pretty high up there with a lot of people's who is the best strategist in the world. These are the considerations. Fate's also in that conversation as well. Nero's been up there quite high as well. But let's be honest, Cooper did so much at the Grand Finals, Shib, that's what put them in that contention here, and then had an almost flawless stage 1 for the Americas.
Yeah, I think there's some real value into a strategist that can play Loki well. I think that really defines the quote-unquote best strategist because he's such a very different hero and just has so much nuance to the kit in decision-making to when to pop those crystals.
One thing to note here, the one map that we did see dropped by Team Liquid Citadel, Cooper was getting hard targeted by Rad, and if we see Na'Vi watching those VODs, as they probably are, they have their new coach in Shu and locking in with the backroom staff as they were shouting out from the interviews earlier on. I think this is going to be something that they focus on. Even Rojaro playing that Magneto, using the Chaos Greatsword to target Cooper, he's going to have to make sure he stays alive as long as possible.
We have covered strategists, we've covered vanguards. It's time to talk about duelists in terms of both team-ups and some of these players. We have seen we all expected Elsa to be really good at this event, but Elsa has sort of opened the door, thanks to the team-up, to the rise of the Winter Soldier in so many of these games. That Essence team-up, the Instinct team-up, giving cooldown reduction to the Winter Soldier in these fights means that they are so hard to deal with.
Yeah, because you're constantly getting overhealth too. You just trade so well. So a very, very strong pick as we head into the ban phase 2. But outside, the final thing I want to mention on the duelist front, how about Black Widow in this
that's
tournament?
true.
I've been loving
That's
it.
true. But also, you know, we got to give a big shout out to the fans who are here too. You see people in the crowd came here bright and early in Los Angeles to get into these matchups. The best one of the day before that grand final, I'd say.
We're also going to talk about the Punisher. We've been seeing so much hype at the start of this tournament around the Penny, Ultron, Adam team-up. And then suddenly, Punisher Storm, you talked about it in the little pre-show we did there, comes on in with the Rocket team-up for the extra attack speed, and then the upgraded Rocket team-up for the infinite ammo has been a spawn hold breaker and has even been used on some aggressive defense as one character who literally has not seen play. Mantis just will not be let through.
Forgot about Mantis because she's always bad.
Yeah, there's no reason to let Mantis through in this meta. Triple Strategist, which is like 3 of Strategist backline, is very strong, and that's why you see the first save for Team Liquid Citadel. Worked really well for Sphedery, and we haven't even talked about the flex duelist for these teams. Jerky versus Sphedery is going to be a matchup to look out for.
Yeah, Jerky coming in as originally as a sort of, he was doing a little bit of streaming, he was doing some sort of DPS Jeff way back in the day, got picked up by an Ignite team and started moving over to the Psylocke. And he called himself at one point a Psylocke one trick and really had some top stats at those grand finals, but has massively widened that hero pool in order to move over to that flex duelist role.
You can see TLC here talking about that Penny comp. That is their prio. They're going to keep the Ultron in Penny, making sure that does not get banned out. Na'Vi, however, are ensuring they don't have that res. Goodbye there to Adam Warlock. Likely going to probably save a Storm pick from Na'Vi, I would assume. I think that makes sense because that's what they've been running. I think that...
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, Jerky's just so good. Yeah.
But we also see on the other side, Team Liquid Citadel, because the Storm was saved, the Rocket is going to get banned. The BRB beacon is so good. The Cosmic Amplifier damage. I mean, the survivability we saw from Fate could not be unmatched.
And there's also the fact that the Rocket would buff that Punisher if they went for the Storm Punisher together to just get the maximum damage output. One word answer, Shib, who do you have?
TLC.
American bias for sure, or Vod, do you agree?
I'm going Na'Vi.
Definitely not biased, definitely based. Let's head over to our casters who will definitely not be biased, but will be based. It's Leg Day and Ryan Central.
Thanks, Tetcher. I mean, biased, like we're the Europeans, we do that, but we both live and reside in the US, so I think fence sitters is in a good position.
fence sitters.
And as a neutral, no matter where you are in the world, if this wasn't the matchup that you wanted to see at an international event when this year started, you haven't been paying attention. These are the perfect 2 teams to go into the upper bracket, right? Like
These are the avatars of EMEA and the Americas. We stand close to the summit, Ryan, but each step upwards will be hard fought for by these teams. And Los Angeles is raring to go to see who will be making it to the grand finals first out of EMEA and the Americas.
Chip said it on desk, 26-0. Team Liquid Citadel don't lose on domination. Na'Vi want to break a few of those streaks themselves, going up against that Ultron Penny composition. A lot of teams are being afraid to even play themselves. Na'Vi need to find an answer, and they're gone with the Storm.
Yeah, Terra not going for the usual Punisher duo for the Storm here, instead opting in for the Elsa Bloodstone with that trap to make sure that any forays pushes into the back line are going to be slowed down by the big trap already. Liquid Citadel making forward moves. They've forced out level 1 Crush regeneration domains, but have they overextended? It would appear that Team Liquid Citadel still have plenty of resources as both teams break from the high ground and make a mad dash towards the objective. Polly could be isolated here. Everyone looking towards that Vanguard. They managed to pick up the early frag, and now Team Liquid Citadel have to play from behind.
Yeah, it's just that one player with the setup. Speedily is just trying to see if he can keep his team going and alive, but Jerky finds that pick out to Cooper, so that's another strategist down into the fray. Liquid looking to back up and give this one up eventually, so Na'Vi take the point first.
Na'Vi said, I want the traitors head first, and the rest will come with time. Now playing from his defensive area, Jerky's going to be able to do so much poke on the entry.
I mean, one of the big sort of weaknesses with Triple Strategist is just making sure that your duelist energy on his own, in this case, is able to do as much damage as possible to get eliminations. But Emma Frost has really started to shine in this meta too, in the hands of Veswa. And Polly, obviously, Penny with that team up with Black Panther is able to just outcharge a lot of damage and make sure that the Ultron's setup enhanced.
Our Fate's going to be one of the first ultimates that's going to be available in this fight here. Cooper's already been taken down by the great sword drawn by Rajaro. Oh, the Master of Magnetism was brought up by the desk, and his reign of terror only keeps getting more brutal.
It's just the fact that ultimates are just starting to trickle online, and Liquid Citadel are staggering themselves. They can't fully reset because Na'Vi are just not allowing them to.
Terror going to be escorted out here by the Vanguards, almost as the Apex Predator, good to go, but Energy's been matching pace when it comes to generating this.
It's also with Na'Vi, with the Triple Strategist, you know that you don't have a Daredevil or a Black Cat dive in the backline, so Crook and Fate's life has been fairly easy so far, both having their ultimates. The Strategists are set up in play. Liquid Citadel need to make the first move.
60% already gained. Rage of Ultron begins, but now Polly going to be eating so much damage. Fate pulls them in and pushes them out. The invisible boundary was deployed there by Na'Vi to survive the initial onslaught, but now Team Liquid Citadel have to make a decision. With only 5 players, we're going to try and commit to this fight. It would appear that Cooper says yes. Jerk has already been taken down. Energy grabbed that one with the trap, but level 1 Crook with a second. The reinforcing invisible boundary. Out goes the Glartrog to isolate Rajaro, but there's plenty of healing for him on the other side. And trust me, he's willing to get rid of the pressure. An exchange here of the psionic attempts at charming, and as Terra's found and looks towards the pretty lady, Polly's return to the fray. The reinforcement here, but so too is the Omeric Mega Hurricane. It moves through the backlines of Liquid Citadel, but Cooper stands tall against the weather.
Finally, the eliminations coming through. It seems that Liquid Citadel are going to be able to flip the point, but it's at 99% for Na'Vi, willing to sort of give it up. They're not going to go for like a portal play yet. They have that window, a chance to build up ultimates and go for this fight again afterwards.
Lots of ultimates expended, though, from the side of Liquid Citadel. Only Spider time remains. It's not the most impactful of ults, Ryan.
I mean, it's 4 ultimates that got used there. Sonic Seduction, Apex Predator, and the Strategist ultimates. Cooper wanted to go, and they were player down. Polly has found himself like the first elimination against Team Liquid Citadel consistently, and even though Penny is pretty mobile, it's nothing when you got Na'Vi just charging you down with a speed boost of a Jerky on Storm.
Oh, Energy's already been taken down by Terra, and this is going to be a huge opening. Carbon Crusher just going to get Polly out of the way for now. Nero trying to play it safe in the back alongside Cooper. All of the strategists huddle for warmth and safety, and the Spider time will make them all the more hiding in the face of danger. That's going to be one grab. What a Carbon Crush for peeling! Unbelievable stuff coming through from the Vanguard of Liquid Citadel, but unfortunately, they've already started running out of time. Energy's had to return, utilizing the Doctor Strange Pentagram of Farala, but Na'Vi are back in control, and overtime is in their favor.
If I have to go for like triple Vanguards, as it's Energy that has to switch, but they're not even given an opportunity to try to fight this one after the other. Team Liquid Citadel just dropping like flies, and Na'Vi strike first blood.
Na'Vi, they're making their way around this Penny Parker composition with ease, Ryan. And the question is now for Team Liquid Citadel, do they pivot?
It just felt like so much of that, they were just struggling to get like an honest fight in the end. Players were just taken off one at a time, and in those cases, Team Liquid Citadel are experienced enough. Okay, we lost the play, we need to disengage. And Na'Vi's like, you're not going anywhere, Sunshine. Like, we're just going to sort of follow and hunt you down. That pressure is just endless. And Speedily's just not been given that space in the sky, the Ultron. This was the whole composition. You've gone for the Protect on the Ultron first and then the Penny. Moving away from that feels like you're just moving away from the draft, the game plan, so it has to be something in the server when it comes to the position. That's the most open part of the map, to be fair. Now it gets a little bit more enclosed with stuff like the Cradle. You've got underground that you can play around. But so far, it doesn't look like there's going to be many changes in the composition other than Energy going over towards Bucky.
Look over at level 1 Crook, 11k healing already. Was our mid-season finals MVP last year for their Loki play. And Loki is back in vogue.
As a reminder, Liquid Citadel have spent the whole year dominating on domination. Looking incredibly strong when it comes to the meta adjustments, but Na'Vi had the heartbreak of Grand Finals. Second place, they don't want to lose here. They have a title to hold on to for mid-season.
A trophy cabinet for EMEA, but they're hoping to expand. For Rage of Ultron's going to be a great opening here, but look at this. Rajro has their bubble burst. Unbelievable amounts of damage pouring out of Speedily, and it would appear that Rajro was unprepared for how quickly that Meteor M would be overwhelmed by Ultron's power.
Just hasn't really amounted to much. You might want to use it in tandem with something else, but Invisible Boundary is going to be used from level 1. Croak trying to get control of the point, but Jerky's shot out for the sky from Polly.
They got too aggressive, couldn't get inside of the Invisible Boundary, and Cooper now sees the opening to bring everyone forward. Raging Royal Flush, and the knockbacks here. They are going to be attempted to be shut down by Trust Me, but the damage is too great, and Team Liquid Citadel use their resources perfectly.
And take control of the point first on the second point of Cradle. For Na'Vi, it was just really the dedication of that Invisible Boundary, the mischief managed, I suppose, for Loki as the copy came through, but everything else just trying to build up as much as they possibly could. Liquid Citadel now with this composition having a better time to maybe hold on to the objective, and staggering out Jerky means that you have a bit more time to work with.
Yeah, Jerky's getting continuously grounded by these tainted voltages. Energy's sitting at full instinct as well, meaning that it barely has a cooldown. A good parry for Barnet Cook coming in from Rajaro to at least not feed over more frags.
You've already built up the Invisible Boundary, but getting Cooper to another Royal Flush as quick as possible would be nice. You don't want to get too close, though, in the end with some of these engagements. Omega Hurricane is on the horizon, and the forecast for the first time in a while, I guess, for LA could be stormy.
Terra unnoted, cooking. Oh, Energy escapes, utilizing the Kraken impact to try and get out of there, and Terra's already been taken down. Veswar got them in a corner. Fate doesn't want to invest here with the Invisible Boundary, but still is going to try and use the shutdown. Veswar's role is going to be matched here by Nero, so plenty of feeling for both of our teams, but it's far away from the objective, and as this happens, Team Liquid Citadel are accruing percentage.
Look at Polly, he's sort of on his own little fight there, trying to go in for the flanks, but it's still a stall out. Trust Me gets taken out with all of the ultimates traded in the end. It was good holds from Team Liquid Citadel, certainly the strategist, a Raid of Ultron in hand. Don't think they need it. They're pushing Na'Vi all the way back to their spawns.
Yeah, Jerky's having so much trouble here going up against the Winter Soldier. Great counter for those flyers, and Na'Vi going to have to try and find a way to get value out of Omega Hurricane.
I mean, I think it was the Sign of Seduction that came out of Trust Me first, but it was a good Invisible Boundary from Nero, just put on exactly where the Emma Frost was. If people were pulled into it, they were going to survive, but Rage of Ultron now dedicated.
Yeah, Rage of Ultron already used. Means it's not going to be able to be used to get rid of all of Jerky's over health, but Jerky just going to disengage, move towards the portal. It's flipping of the map here from Na'Vi. But Energy's already lying in wait. Gets Jerky once again. This was there with the follow-up Spider Time declared, and it's feeling like a good time right now for Liquid Citadel. Na'Vi try and pile into the Invisible Boundary, but Terra's not going to be able to make it in level 1. Crook's already fallen incredibly low. Jerky only just started respawning, and now you've got to ask, is it time to TP back, or do you give this one up and go over to the last map of Krakoa as the frag feed begins to fill with red? The blood starts pumping in the audience. Los Angeles' hometown heroes have come back.
Na'Vi, give it up. Don't try and go for a portal. There wasn't really a good opportunity in order to do it. But the fact that Team Liquid Citadel win that and they have a Royal Flush just in the back pocket ready to go for Cooper is a really good sign for them. Clearly, it shows how much prevalence goes into these first engagements and taking the point first. And with Triple Strategist, getting any eliminations when people can get set up in position, certainly Polly, I don't think he was eliminated once. Once we did actually see Team Liquid Citadel taking Cradle, it's just hard for Na'Vi to find the picks. And Jerky's, the storm looked a little bit more subtle, I suppose. It was a light sleet on the roads, I suppose, but no changes for composition so far at the very least.
So, I think we've been on the worst map for Penny, and the best map for Penny on Krakoa, and now the mid-map for Penny. Question is, will Polly be able to once again make these shenanigans work? You can see they've selected the Black Panther team up here as well, which gives them a lot of fragging power on those off angles and survivability off the Vibranium shield.
I mean, when it comes to Polly, sort of known for his Captain America, but the mechanics are incredibly set. It's where these first engagements are going to exactly come from in the end. It seems that the plan for Team Liquid Citadel is to flank all the way around to the objective, take this little high ground, basically set up stall with as much of the Penny utility as you can.
Yeah, just creating the safety net for your backline as well, because of course those cyber webs do heal and speed boost any of your allies who find themselves on top of them. And Cooper has the Raging Royal Flush here, which could be everything that TLC need for their first fight.
And they've already sort of bullied off a lot of space, actually set up a very aggressive hold, just a bit of a fortress now for Na'Vi to break, and the Royal Flush is going to send them right into the back line of Na'Vi.
The persistence go time, and Energy's inclined to agree, but does disengage. They get shut down by Jerky. Revenge is found onto a primary counter, but Rajaro can't get anything off the back of the Meteor M, and now maybe a little bit touched too far forward. Team Liquid Citadel are cut in two, and Veswar can't receive any healing, so Na'Vi once again again have battened down the hatches and found their opening.
And that was Liquid taking the point first, right? They only got to single digits of 8%. It's going to be matched now. But Liquid Citadel, they had the Royal Flush. You got Energy bringing up the Kraken's Impact as the regeneration domains, using those Loki clones to go off. So the fact that Jerky was able to get that pick was key to making sure that Na'Vi could turn that fight. Not off of an ultimate, just off one of the best flex players in the world.
His flexibility has been such a key towards Na'Vi's success recently. Best one wants to open. Speedler's going to make sure that anyone who's grabbed by this ultimate is going to be blasted down too sweet by the Rage of Ultron, but Fate answers both of those with a singular, and Poly's found on the off angle again. This is the same problem that they had on the Quiet Council zone, but traded out for Rajaro, who overextended a touch, was pulled in by Nero. Great flex play around the outside, and Energy's looking for their opening. Spots Terra, might be calling up an Apex Predator, could come in from the other side. Still level 1 Crook, feels the pressure, knows that it's time to use the invisible boundary, but Team Liquid Citadel aren't really committed to this.
Yeah, they just have to hold on to the point. So the copies come over. Na'Vi now have a window where no strategist ultimates are going to be able to keep people going, but if they need to clear stuff out, the Omega Hurricane's going to be the thing to blow on through.
They can try and wait for a Nero here. Over-focused fire into the wall and down the drain! Trust me and Jerky combine to get rid of a strategist ultimate, but still Team Liquid Citadel have plenty of talent on the field as level 1 Crook falls on down and Terra begins to work around the margins. Na'Vi are in control, but Team Liquid Citadel threatening a flip here. You've got to get on top of Energy, get rid of the primary threat. Trust me's already been taken down. Rotter Stern on one side and a Monster Piercer on the other. Just a quick flip away there from Terra. Can get healed up inside of a spawn room as well as the reinforcement came through from Jerky. And you can see that Penny is stuck up on the outside of that portal, making it so perilous to try and disembark.
Liquid have been winning this fight for the last 30 seconds, but Na'Vi have just had a toe on the objective. Now more ultimates have to be dedicated in order to try to flip it, but it's just at 95%. It means that Na'Vi don't have the portal for a potential final fight, but finally Team Liquid Citadel actually get off the point. The right focuses as well, the dive that went in onto level 1 Crook, but it's the fact that Na'Vi go, okay, we're losing this fight, we need to spread out, isolate, one step at a time, just keep the stall going, but now they need to find an opening.
Energy needs to be the hero for the Americas here. Has the most impactful ultimate, the Kraken Impact, to try and keep Na'Vi at bay. On the other side, Rajaro ready to take to the skies with the Meteor M.
Poly, Spider Sweepers would be a great way to just make it hard for Na'Vi to set up with these ultimates to go in for the fight. It's going to be the Silent Seduction from Veswar to start. Meteor M to counter.
Spider Sweeper begins. Rajaro takes to the sky. Once Poly will find Poly. And Cooper's taken down on the other side. Energy thinks it's winnable. One reset into the next level 1 Crook has another clone set up until the Doppelgangers will provide more for Energy. But all they can do is flee away into the loving arms of Speedily. They need the healing. They need the drone. Na'Vi flip the point in their favor. Veswar's trying his best to keep it contested, but Terra's right there going up against his former region saying, nah, mate, I left for a reason. Terra brings them in with the Apex Predator. Nero has an invisible boundary and will have to step there by themselves, but Fate shuts it down, and Na'Vi take the map off Liquid Citadel.
The domination runs end 26-1 for the top team from Americas. Na'Vi sweating a little bit in some of those areas, but it was the fact that Poly went for the portal play, immediately stepped out, Glortrox sweeped him straight past off of the objective, and an MVP from the Magneto, the one-sided Magneto, that Na'Vi wanted to put that pressure on with Rajaro, and he was an underrated performance of Grand Finals. Obviously, the MVP going over to Sparker with VP's win there, but showing that that front line is ready and waiting to take the crown and keep the crown for mid-season finals.
Looking at our stats here, Jerky walking away with the most final blows. Most of them being on that Storm. The great focus fire from Trust Me and Jerky to dive into Nero's invisible boundary in the midst of those fights as well. Use the Carbon Crush, use the Omega Hurricane, kick them into the wall. Too much burst damage is sustained through a singular strategist. Oh, it was fantastic target focus and shows just why Na'Vi are probably the favorite team here.
Especially with that kind of performance, Team Liquid Citadel going for what a lot of people are talking about, like scrims. It's pretty much prevalent. It has been. We've talked about that now because the majority of teams who were scrimming sat in the audience. So this has been their lives when it comes to like trying to make this composition work, see if there's any counters to it, and the answer for Storm is a pretty good one when it comes to some of the Convoy and Convergence maps that we have to go to now. There hasn't been many instances that Team Liquid Citadel have been on the back foot and had a map to choose from, but now they can't go to Domination. It is a best of 5. We'll have to see that a little bit later on potentially, but you're looking at the likes of Central Park, you're looking at potential Yggdrasil like they picked up against Rad, or Spider Islands like they've done against Swamp. You have to go for something a little bit different, but Na'Vi is very clearly studied on their opponent in this one.
Yeah, Idrisil definitely seems like it might be the pick here, as it is a specialist map of Team Liquid. So there is a stopgap. Of course, this is going to be a longer series, a best of 5, Ryan, and so there's plenty of time to work your specialties and try and find your edges of the primary opponent.
I think you have to sort of look at the draft as well. You see with the highlights just what kind of characters were banned out in the end. The Team Liquid Citadel didn't have access to the Magneto. It's been a common protect. Even in that case, like, it was a one-sided gambit in favor of Team Liquid Citadel. Na'Vi were sort of forced away. They managed to get the Loki, to stop the Rocket. They just tried to take as much potency out of the triple strategist. And even with the likes of Invis and Gambit alongside an Ultron, it just didn't feel like it was enough. Na'Vi were finding all the eliminations they needed, even when Team Liquid Citadel had control of the objective itself. Those moments, it's really hard to find a pick, and Na'Vi were doing it.
Look at our stats page there. It was a very low casualty game. All of our players playing their disengages very well, but often that meant the point was seeded in Convoy. Idrisil Path, as predicted, is going to be the stopgap measure here for Team Liquid Citadel to try and bring themselves back in.
It's a 4-win, 0 losses, so even though the game mode, I suppose, of Convoy, there's been a couple of drops for Team Liquid. None have really come in recently, right? You're looking at, like, pre-season. It was Jolly that they lost against Rad for the mid-season finals, like, first preliminary game. But everything else is just a little bit, like, in fact, looking at it, it pretty much is Convoy is fairly good at them. Only dropping like Spider Islands to Swamp twice, but in the last 3 attempts that Swamp have tried to pick that map against them, it's gone Liquid's way.
Did you say how many times Team Liquid Citadel have dropped to domination? I'm pretty sure they were like 24-0.
26-0. There's 26-1 now.
Oh.
But you have to, like, you know, honeymoon periods can last quite a while, but it's always about, like, okay, they have to lose a domination at some point soon, right? Yes. Right? Like, it feels like one of those kind of moments. But I think it's just that, like, for Na'Vi, they've got so much, like, drive. Even if you were looking at, like, Na'Vi during the playoffs, they were playing on boot camp, and you got one of the minds that leads this team of Trust Me, one of the main vanguards, in between maps where, you know, Fate's on his phone, playing with, like, a koala plushie or whatever the hell it was. Trust Me's, like, in aim trainers, and he's coming up with, like, tools on making sure that he knows the cooldown of a lot of abilities. And certainly with all of the team-ups, he's the most, like, studied, but he's making sure that his mechanics are up to speed. Usually sort of known for the Deadpool Vanguard, right? But there hasn't been many opportunities for that. You have to imagine, we also saw him be one of the first to really bring out the Penny before the team-up changes came in. Stage 1 playoffs, there were little bits of it, and certainly going on to, like, Convoy maps like this, I would imagine that Na'Vi have to put a bit more stock in the Penny themselves in comparison to what we saw in Domination.
Yeah, Domination can be a very movement-intensive game mode, which can force Penny to struggle a little bit. We saw that Polly was often caught while trying to find those off angles for the Penny to elucidate that pressure from. But on Convoy, where your defenses can be a lot more static, you can get a lot more value out of that. And you got to wonder how legit the coach or one of the coaches of Team Liquid Citadel is going to modulate the draft heading into map number 2 to try and get rid of some of the big forces that were powerful on the side of Na'Vi.
Yeah, legit RC and Gator, I think, have been with the team from the very beginning, but the black suited player, or coach even, of Shu, he only just joined for stage 1.
Yeah, he's a newbie.
And, like, yeah, he was at TSM, which didn't go well, so he came back into the region for EMEA. And sort of looking at it now, it's like he is more the mediator, as one of the main complaints, I suppose, for Na'Vi was, like, the internal struggle. Certainly with Terra coming on, everybody had an opinion on the team on how to play it. Shez's job is to basically mediate it and make sure that everybody comes onto the same page. And that's exactly what Na'Vi have been able to do on Domination. There's the plan there, and going off the draft, Team Liquid Citadel still going for the Ultron first protect. The worry, I suppose, is if you go for the Penny Protect, you sort of lock in that composition. And we saw Speedily playing amazingly on the likes of Storm against Rad. He won't have that freedom to actually play that sort of flex duelist role if he's stuck on Ultron Jail.
That's true. And Ultron Jail definitely does seem to be beckoning. Mantis and Loki ceded away to both teams. Question is, do Na'Vi want to make a play for one-sided Magneto here as well? They've already protected it to make sure that Rajro has the Chaos Greatsword in his back pocket, but they can also try and ban away that Penny, admittedly. Of how many times Polly went down, far more than any of the rest of the team, maybe Penny is something that they kind of want to beckon Liquid Citadel into playing.
And the Storm Protect is a good one. Rocket's been banned now. You know, triple strategists, again, Adam goes up higher in the rankings, as does Loki when you have these game modes. With a Penny Protect, so this is like the game plan for Team Liquid Citadel, maybe across the whole series, maybe across the rest of today. The Penny Protect means that something else needs to be banned out, so it is the one-sided Magneto again, pretty much looking exactly the same as the last draft, just the order a little bit different. Team Liquid Citadel sticking to their guns.
I mean, it's a great ban against Team Liquid Citadel. Like, we've been talking to the Americas talent. Like, Cozy's like, oh, this is the best mag in the world. And admittedly, maybe he is.
We just don't get to see it, which is also like the handy part of it. Like Vesware unfairly made this Team Liquid Citadel team better. We were talking about it yesterday of just like they were pretty dominant during preseason, and then they suddenly add in another player, and it's just like fair trade routes like, seem to come in. Like this should not be allowed. Sort of building up on this.
Na'Vi going to be defending first. Defending with a damage, which is certainly an interesting layup. We often see the triple-triple here with 3 strategists and 3 vanguards, but I haven't really seen much defensive Storm thus far.
I mean, it's probably expecting that composition to come out. Some hero switch-ups for Liquid Citadels. Speedily is going to be on the Black Cat to begin with, but mostly probably just perch on top of the window to see exactly what's going to be out on the defense. But I would imagine he'd see the Storm and go, okay, we need to go for something else. Energy actually switching over from the Punisher. He's going to actually like go over towards the Bucky, hoping to catch some pigeons out of the sky, as you've probably seen the Storm on the other side now, but speedily back on the Ultron.
Yep, back onto the Ultron. Has good air-to-air combat. The Encephalo Ray is hit scan and can deliver some serious damage.
Already a lot of respect sort of given up in the end, but the composition almost looking pretty much identical, but Fate having access to the Gambit this time. Trust me, is the first to go down and might want to switch over towards the Strange to force out more fights this early, because right now it's uncontested. This first checkpoint, which can almost hold for like 2 minutes in itself, that first corner, gone.
What a bit of a trust me is called the disengage heroes. I don't want to move over to the Strange just yet, and instead we'll just manually recontest with the remainder of the team. But Team Liquid Citadel doing a good job here of just controlling all the space, and this lets Polly get set up too.
That's the problem, right, with the Penny. It's like, okay, you want to give us this space? Now retaking it is going to be a lot harder, certainly this early on when there's no ults.
Yeah, getting through here with no ults is going to be so difficult. Both of the Vanguards are just being kicked into the wall continuously, and it's so hard to deliver the healing. In fact, as to be the invisible boundary, Rajro still goes down through all of that, and Na'Vi are going to have to try and do this under man with Fate already falling low, stunned on the outside. Speedly's there with the finisher, and Team Liquid Citadel look like they are absolutely back. They weren't defeated on the first map. They were simply enraged.
Are they going to go for the portal to try to contest this, or is it similar to Rad? Like, they might be able to just get there in the end, because Na'Vi, yet again, have managed to stall out for a good amount of time, even looking to win the fight. Jerky found Cooper.
Cooper was found, and Rajro's coming back as well. Has the Gamma team up, used it to blast away Veswa, and you know what? The Team Liquid Citadel are also in for a penny, in for a pound on this one. Energy looking to TP back, but might decide to just give it away, and this could be a generational fumble.
I mean, it was also just a good read from Na'Vi. So many teams might panic to go for the Strange ultimate. Now Gladrox is going to be used to get anybody else fighting for Citadel as they dedicate for the Strange portal themselves.
Attempted cleanse comes on through. Speedly's doing so much damage right now, and Polly's activated their team up. What can Rajaro do against all of these assembled Ultron drones empowered by Cooper? Na'Vi finally taken off the point.
Fantastic read for Liquid Citadel. Na'Vi sort of played the timings perfectly with being able to stall it with the Strange. But seeing exactly how Na'Vi want to adjust as we have the Razor listening to see how this defense is going to hold on second.
Possible to push past this choke with that though.
Okay, can we wolf it more?
We're here, double cross.
Breaking mine, mine's gone.
Use one on one.
Yeah, keep walking there, keep walking. Take place. Help from. I use.
Keep going. Going backhand, with storm move. Walk forward. Walk. I'm pulled.
I use team up, I'm Jackie, they're looking careful.
Yes, guys. Pick. I hit, energy one.
It's lost.
Energy on the comms, but it's all energy on the field right now, looking absolutely brutal on the Buckathon Barnes.
And like that happens to us as well. Energy won, he wasn't, he was full health, so it happens even at the bigger stages like this, but Na'Vi try to go in for the aggressive walk, as we heard, with the Royal Flush and then the Omega Hurricane. But Liquid Citadel disengage, go in for the fight themselves, and set up Poise nicely with a Kraken Impact on the way for Energy.
Energy's going fishing. Won't find anything this time. The Sonic Aegis drafted up by Trust Me to block that one out, and a big pull in. They want Energy so bad. They know where the carry is. And you can see that Rajro are just doing their best to avoid the Carbon Crush. Team Liquid Citadel have kind of been penned into the corner here. They've got plenty of cover to work with. What they don't have is control of the objective.
A Meteor M could certainly fall into that hallway and find quite a lot in the end as Terra's fighting up against his old region, seeing if he can find the connections, but find himself right in the middle of an invisible boundary.
Rajro looking to try and get the dunk once. Polly finds Polly and then draws out the Great Sword The disengage from Liquid Citadel is going to be rather fast here as they know that they've lost position on this point. They're going to have to try and cook this engagement again.
It's the same idea, though. Liquid Citadel pull them back, stretch out Navi's defense. They go in for the aggressive play. Rage of Ultron, Royal Flush to combo. It forces out Crook with the invisible boundary to just hold on to this corner.
Good comes Isolates on the other side. Energy, do you dare try and commit to this one? Unfortunately, not really able to get any Kraken impact debuffs, and so won't be finding any resets, even though Terra fell down on the other side. Level 1 Crook also going to be equally unlucky. Up comes the Psionic Grab, and so too does Veswa rise above Rajaro.
There was so much focus that went in onto stopping Energy, so much damage. That's why he paused with that Kraken's impact, and he even saw Trust Me put a perfect little shield down for Emma Frost to stop those debuffs going in, to stop any resets coming through. But Liquid Citadel, having enough about them, pushed to the second checkpoint with 3.5 minutes left to get to third.
That's twice now for Liquid Citadel. Done this old bait and switch with the Gambit boosted Ultron ultimate. Now Fate going to try and find some space here for Na'Vi. Admittedly, Team Liquid Citadel haven't really committed to this, and so all Na'Vi are going to get off the back of their Gambit is space.
This is what Liquid Citadel have been so good at, though. Every time Na'Vi use something aggressively, they just walk back, and then they come in with a counterattack. This time a Psionic Seduction. It forces out the Omega Hurricane that's trying to pull apart Team Liquid Citadel. But this is front to back, forwards and backwards from this attacking side.
Omega Hurricane can't get that much. Potential stuns coming through, but Trust Me is mostly avoided. And a missed Carbon Crush from Veswa means that they're going to have to play a little bit more cowed for now. Pulled on in very deep by the Invisible Woman. Veswa just gets blown up. Spinning kick into the wall. The burst is too much to comprehend. And Na'Vi will be able to continue holding this doorway.
Jerky with a team up from 4 means that it's pretty much hit scan shots from Jerky and Terra. And now it's just slim pickings. There's no ultimates to build on the side of Terra. Apex Predators more about the positioning, but Liquid Citadel forced all the way back. Composition staying roughly the same, but you have to sort of find some way to actually push from this. A minute wasted of the 3.5 that was given to Liquid Citadel on third.
Jerky playing pretty reserved right now. As you said, the hit scan shots do mean that they don't have to get very close. Here comes Speedly, moving in first with the Rage of Ultron, going to be answered by level 1 Croak. This means that Nero's going to have a slightly later ultimate inside of these cylinders. Na'Vi are going to be at a disadvantage, and Polly's going to make sure that the space is very much in their favor by using the Spider Sweeper. Out comes the Glartrox. Goodbye to Cooper, but Energy still believes it to be winnable. Came out with a Kraken impact. Terra's falling low, trying to kite away for now, stopping themselves from getting reset upon them. While Energy will find their man, they will not find their reset.
And it was off the back of Liquid Citadel dedicating that Spider Sweeper. Polly's the last to go down, just with that extra little bit of sustain whilst he goes for the ult. But immediately it was just Polly uses the ultimate. Trust Me just runs over and Carbon crushes him, CCs, and from that point on, Team Liquid Citadel looking very split on this attack. Another minute wasted, 90 seconds left to go.
Raging Royal Flush, good to go. And Team Liquid Citadel certainly are ready to rage already. Rajaro's gone on down. Fate tried to rescue them from a briny grave, but Team Liquid Citadel finding everything they want here. Fate goes in deep. Fine, I'll do it myself. And while Polly may well fall, the rest of that Na'Vi have been victimized by Liquid Citadel.
Finally get stuff moving. You're not stuck pretty much just shy of your own spawn. Pushing third can be really hard here. Energy wants to try to close up and push the distance exactly halfway to having the ultimate, and with the team up with Elsa, has some instinct to bring down some of the cooldowns and a drone for measure.
Omega Hurricane good to go, and no defensive prowess to work with, but that's a huge pull onto Terra. Follow-up's not there. Omega Hurricane threatens to make landfall. You can't really disengage from it due to the Gambit team up, but all of the focus fire gets rid of Jerky. 1 for 1, the trades are uneven thus far, but it seems like Na'Vi have all the ground and pound that they need right now to keep this one going. Down the narrow corridor, it's easy control for Trust Me, and so Team Liquid Citadel are forced to give up the space and go back to a drawing board.
You can look at Rajaro again over on the Magneto, the Bulwarks, just really enhancing that team up for Fate on the Gambit, but Liquid Citadel forcing themselves forward with the Psionic Seduction, Rage of Ultron in hand as overtime is about to loom, and one at a time Na'Vi is starting to drop. One final fight.
They're always baiting so perfectly. Speedly's going to wish that maybe they got rid of those 2 escaping members of Na'Vi.
Seeing if there's a chance here, Rage of Ultron might just be peppered on the door. How do you even get out if you're Na'Vi? You're just pretty much locked in house arrest.
Oh yeah, this is not looking very easy. Level 1 Crook instantly gets evaporated, disintegrated, disappear, they screamed. And Liquid Citadel said, you're right actually, and we're very keen to see that happen. Rajaro can't make it to the cart, and Team Liquid Citadel stake their claim on Yggdrasil Path.
Consistently pushing themselves forward, 0 seconds remaining, but a push all the way to the end. You're certainly going to take that if you're Team Liquid Citadel, and now you might be able to actually find something more with the triple strategist. You're losing out on some of the bigger elements with stuff like, you know, the rocket, Loki was banned out early. It's consistently taken out there in these positions. Makes you a little bit hopeful, I suppose, if your Team Liquid Citadel to just find the gaps in order to make this triple strategist hold. But no be right backs, no counter revivals means that you don't really have many errors allowed to keep those fights going on first.
In TLC, it seems like most of their success have been off the back of some very, very smart disengagement baits. And then having a means to damage boost to try and turn the tides on an overextending player who really wants to find those staggers, whether it be speedily using the Ultron drones on everybody, using their team up with the Penny, and then turning that into a big damage boost for everybody who remains on the field, or a Gambit ultimate from Cooper to make sure that you could outspeed anyone who tries to flee in reverse. The baits have been so strong, and Na'Vi have fallen for them multiple times.
On the subject of Liquid Citadel's defense, the last 3 games that they've played on it, and it's 4-0 for them, the last 3 wins were full holds. So it's one of these areas where, like, this first defense is usually where Team Liquid Citadel look the strongest, but they have less of the tools to make it happen.
Well, for Storm, maybe a little bit stronger on the offense here, where you can continually take your turns with the Lightning Aura being amplified. The weather control is going to be a very important thing to look at here. Energy already took a bunch of damage, but it would appear that Veswa's been able to dodge away.
Been one of the few best of 5 series with like the least hero switches. Everybody's pretty much been playing the same copy and paste template. For Liquid Citadel, this was their whole game plan. They have to try and make it work on one of the strongest maps to make it work.
Oh, the Spider-Man Nest just makes it so hard to try and live here. Jerky's going to be doing more damage through the inflamed Guardian shield given over by Johnny Storm, but without Terra, Na'Vi a little bit toothless on the attack right now.
And see how much pressure has been created from Liquid Citadel. Poly finds himself a nice pick onto Fate. You even heard from the listening, like the call-outs for the team up, and that's going to be the one, the main one for Poly over on the Penny. Basically makes those bullets hit scan, cleans people up, has it in hand, but not quite needing to use it just yet, as right now Liquid are holding.
Nasty collection of binds you can see on your screen right there. If anyone steps too far in, they are sure to be blown to smithereens, Ryan.
So Na'Vi's just trying to churn over, build these ultimates a lot faster, and with triple strategists being on the defense, it does mean that that healing is sort of spreading out the ultimates, but it has allowed Cooper to go for the Royal Flush first.
To replace the off angle, could get the anti-heal as well. Just going to have a quick cleanse onto themselves and disengage inside of level 1 Crook's play here. But now Fate is going to find their opening. 13% away, it's not going to be with Terra though. Na'Vi have already lost so much, they cannot commit to this one. Team Liquid Citadel have aggression in their hearts and they refuse to yield.
It's just the 2 strategist ultimates. The third one's just built up, but that's the beauty of the Ultron. The rage of Ultron Ultimate is you can just pepper it pretty much on anything to give yourself an advantage. It was the Invisible Boundary used in the end for level 1 Crook to keep that fight going. And it's a bit weird seeing level 1 Crook over on the Invis and then Fate on the Gambit. Usually it's the other way around, but these are the 2 most flexible players in the world.
Incredibly flexible, and Na'Vi now have all the tools they need to try and stop this one. The question is, what can Team Liquid Citadel do to kite out this Gambit ultimate? Here we go, a Mega Hurricane boosted up, and also going to be going into the Invisible Boundary. The damage from Jerky could be overwhelming, but Nero's more than happy to try and deal with this one. Trust me, he's already fallen on down. Na'Vi have used almost all of their resources, and yet they find nothing but pain and suffering at the hands of Liquid Citadel. Terra can't even get out of dodge, and neither can his teammates. Na'Vi are stumped.
And a pristine composition working as intended for Team Liquid Citadel. Cooper finding himself the first blood in that fight, and he's one of the strategists with the most final hits per 10 minutes. He is just absolutely scrappy, not afraid to get involved in these engagements, and Energy wants to try to add to his numbers.
No grab fan right there. The Glartrox in return is going to try and control Energy, but there's no follow-up, and so it's an easy disengage. Veswa activates the bait, moves around the outside, but the Vanguards from Na'Vi strike on back, and Cooper has been slain. Speedley's down as well. All the healing's going to have to come from Nero, but he's just one man. He's trying to keep everybody up. The disengagement, just move over to the card to keep it stalled.
And Energy, because everybody's gone down at the same time, they can get the right player over on the Strange to go for the portal play. Don't think anybody's going to really have the chance to go and sort of close it down, but they're going to scout it out, and Na'Vi pretty much final fight potentially on this objective. Energy jumping in, ready to set the team up for another hold.
They have the time, they have the space, but Rajo is already closing down the gaps. And trust me, isolated here, here. Overextended, the healing couldn't come their way, and now how do you get these Vanguards away from the objective? Trust Me is not there to strike fear into their hearts, and Jerky seems to just be lunch buffet for Team Liquid Citadel. Speedily still going to hang out with the Rage of Ultron ready to go.
Somebody have to actually swap to be able to try to touch, because now there's 15 seconds left, and this distance, Liquid Citadel up in the sky, Speedily can actually see everybody and knows exactly when it's coming in. The Rage of Ultron's coming down.
And now forcing out that invisible boundary away from the cart. Cooper knows that it's just a moment of time that the Team Liquid Citadel need. Terra's already been taken down and no one's there to touch! Even with the Raging Royal Flush, it was just a celebratory flash of the cards. Team Liquid Citadel even us up.
Whilst domination streak has ended for Team Liquid Citadel, it's 5-0 in Yggdrasil. It really is their home ground. Might want to rely on it a little bit later on if they can get either into the grand finals of BO7 or in the losers bracket if they lose here. But tying us up in this best of 5, it shows that Team Liquid still have hands in these cases, and Na'Vi not quite having the answers this time when it comes to the draft to stop that Penny Ultron composition. Absolutely blow them out on the defense.
Yeah, now we've got to wonder, like, is it time to put a ban towards that Penny? It felt like Na'Vi, they had an answer. They had the answer on domination, but domination's not Penny's greatest type. It's too mobile. When you're in this static first point hold on Yggdrasil path, where Penny can just stay still, be in her fortress, be in the Citadel, that's where she's at her strongest.
It does mean as well that the likes of Na'Vi have convergence to choose a map from, so there's a couple of options, but I want to hear what the desk have to think of not only of what we've seen so far, but what we're about to see for map 3.
The 1 in 26 and 1. And yet, we have more ones as our series sits all tied up. A very interesting point brought up by our casters here, Shib. We're seeing a little bit of some interesting protections of bans, but Vodable, I'll ask you first here. We're seeing the Penny being prioritized a lot by Poly, but also the Storm is making an appearance here.
What's so interesting about that Penny that you mentioned here, Tetcher, is that Team Liquid Citadel weren't hiding their strategies about that. They played against YWL on stream for Vespa, and they were still able to showcase how strong it was. So now seeing it here on LAN from Poly, and they've been unleashed. The second save from it, very effective.
Yeah, I think Paulie, you know, he was funny. He was mentioning, I want to work on this hero. I'll tell you what, Paulie gets it now on Penny, even playing Penny on attack, commanding space. You and I were talking, bud. You just see Paulie take and own, essentially like reverse spawn switching with him on the attack and constantly allowing his team to play way up in space. Super well done.
Poly has been a player who has basically legendarily become that almost target to ban character. Whether it was Captain America now or Penny Parker appearing here, do you both think it is time to maybe see Penny Parker taken away from him?
I think it needs to be because of how effective it is. But we also got to talk about the rest of the team here, right? Energy MVP so far, popping up every single map. 12 finals in that last one, and 12 in the first one too.
We got to talk about the characters that are really enabling that shift. We're seeing Elsa, Widow, Bucky as like these huge priorities, and Energy is kind of goated on all of them.
Yeah. And so is Terra, I would argue. But no, it's really cool to see. I mean, the question I've been curious about is when does Widow come into play? And what I'm noticing now is I think it has to be map specific. And outside of that, the Bucky and Elsa have just been the priority. But we got to see some very strong Bucky Elsa play here. That being said, Jerky, though, on the Storm, I think TLC's doing a pretty decent job managing that. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, I mean, Jerky on map 1 was the most slays that we saw out of any player. It was 10 finals compared to Terra's 7. We actually had 9 from Energy on that map, but actually the ban line changed a little bit towards the end for this Convoy map. Adam was more of a prioritization for the ban instead of the Gambit. They let that through for Fate because they know how lethal he is on it.
Adam has been a very instrumental character throughout a lot of these series, in particular on Convoy maps, where we did also see it a little bit on Domination, but when you are trying to stop your opponents from pushing on, you need to make sure that there's someone on the objective. And if you have no one alive, no one's on the objective. Adam fixes that problem. Looking at some of these statistics, Fate, we already mentioned it, staying very safe in the backline. Only went down 6 times, but look at Cooper and Nero.
Yes.
Only went down 4 times, and Nero only went down 1 time on the backline that game.
And the major call out too, if you're talking about Cooper, 7 finals on the Gambit there. You know, one of the strongest backline players in the game, but then going in and playing aggro, those 4, only getting KO'd 4 times while still being that aggressive is a testament to some high skill.
This is the first map this entire event that Na'Vi have dropped. So we saw, you know, some struggles before from Team Liquid Citadel against Rad on that Hall of Dajalia Convergence map, but this is the first time Na'Vi have bled, and now they're gonna get angry, rage out like the Hulk, and see what they can do from here.
What can they do from here? We, of course, know that they have to go to Convergence next. They've already played Convoy. They've already played Domination.
Ooh.
And we'll be heading to Shib Shibuya. Shib Shibuya. What you got for me?
It's some very, you know what, in this map particularly, I think we're going to see some very bunkered up comp. But the weird thing is, Triple's fine here. And I think this is all right for TLC. I'm not saying this is necessarily a strength for them, but this is the map pick here from Na'Vi, obviously. But I don't think it is a major advantage in their book.
Yeah, I think they've been figuring out a strat to use here, right? I think this is the first time we've seen Shin Shibuya all event, at least from Na'Vi as well. Yeah. This is also their first counter pick too, because as we mentioned before, they haven't dropped the map. So nobody really knows what their game plan is going to be when it comes to a loss and bouncing back from that. So I'm assuming we're going to see some Daredevil in some capacity, especially because of how strong Dive is on this map as well. Luna Snow might be a priority too for that Snowflake.
It's the map that was brought back in 2026. It was a very stressful map to push. It has a huge choke point on that first objective, which a lot of teams will literally open up with Portal to wrap around, making it Strange massively jumps up in priority, but when the bans are already this choked up, it's very hard to deal with. We also see high priorities on Punisher for defense back in Season 0, and even Flyers can sometimes control the air around that first choke point.
Speaking of Flyers, we've had the Battle of the Flyers so far, right? In the first bans, and also for our Flex Duelists, we have the Ultron typically going one-sided for Team Liquid Citadel, and then on the other end, it has been the Storm coming through. But the Magneto, I don't know if it's been as effective as it typically has been in recent history.
Yeah, I'm noticing that as well. I mean, it's crazy here because Team Liquid Citadel are getting like the exact same layout they got last time.
Yeah.
Curious if Na'Vi just feels more comfortable on this map. But granted, you know, Yggdrasil is just such a TLC map, so this is now going in Na'Vi's favor, could change the tone.
Guys, we gave them the penny again. What are we doing?
I
mean, Poly is so good on it, especially at the first point here. You could set up some good traps as well, but I feel like maybe with the more open areas, you could teleport in towards the back area as well. That might be a game plan for Na'Vi.
They're going to get rid of Mag, yeah.
They will not have the full triple setup, though, with that Adam Warlock, Ultron, and Penny. They only have 2 of those key Infinity Stones for that hyper defensive comp here, but it is going to be 2 that team up very well with, of course, Ultron gaining that team up from Penny, allowing him to drone the entire team.
I think the rocket save here is crucial, right? It's been banned every time before now as well, and I feel like that was a huge comfort pick for Fate. Didn't go down a single time on Krakoa against VP, and the Storm ban because it's not saved. They might have a different composition in line here.
I want to get your takes. Who do you think wins the ban phase here? I got to go TLC.
I think it's kind of 50-50 a little bit, but I'm headed towards TLC as well.
I think Storm's been so instrumental for breaking these petty comps. Taking it away could be key, so I think it might be TLC. Let's see what our casters think as we're going to head back over to take us into map number 3.
Thank you, guys. We've never seen Na'Vi play Shin Shibuya, so of course they want to bring it out now. A little bit of the change, I suppose, as Gambit only in a handful of times has been completely amiss from the draft phase. Probably one of the strongest elements in the meta. I think the crown goes to Mantis at this point when you're banning her out this much. But it allows Fate to also be on the Rocket. They wanted to protect that, which means that the Storm wasn't protected, which means that that option that Na'Vi wanted to go for against like the Ultron Penny composition, not on the field.
Yeah, it's a secret weapon or 2 potentially here from Na'Vi. One of the underrated aspects of this Ultron Penny composition as well is that, well, just going back to your regular ranked matches, Penny does make it very difficult for any of those melee duelists to exist for a long time, be it the Black Cat or the Daredevil, and that saves so much from the ban phase that you'd usually have to consider about Jerky.
Get to see our first little bit of Black Widow for the day, at the very least, as Terra is looking to be going out and open on it. Na'Vi sticking to this like 2-2-2. Triple strategists continuing as the composition for Team Liquid Citadel looking almost identical to how it's looked so far today.
America's love triple strategists, you know how it is. Terra, at this range, is going to be able to put down a huge amount of damage, but remember, the Poly's also going to be affording passive healing onto Vezwa here as well via those spiderwebs.
It's now a case of just holding onto this objective, seeing the oldest 2 maps in the game played one after the other week, just in Shibuya. You're not going to see the Royal Palace at all. This is not in the circuit. But right now, Liquid Citadel just trying to adjust where Na'Vi's coming in through the terrain to make sure that this choke doesn't get too pescuous. but they're sort of in and out trying to get into position because they're taking a lot of this poke damage in the neutral.
Oh, that's a big pull in, but Jerky gets aggressive, goes in for a Trooper's Fist of his own. Now Veswa going to try and run him down. Indeed, the extra bounce back from Cooper's team up was absolutely imperative there, but this is what you get when Fate has the rocket. The Battle Recall Beacon returns Jerky to the fray.
I mean, when the drafts and the compositions look this similar, you have to look at the macro a bit more, and the positioning of these Vanguards on both sides are going to be key. Veswa in the perfect position to just keep Trust Me and Rajaro pretty much on the back foot. Even with the one-sided mag, there's only so much damage they can take.
Right, level 1 Croc has put up the Gambit. Ultimate's going to drive all of Na'Vi forward. They've already found energy there. Jerky managing to win out against their counterpart, and Veswa's fallen as well. Team Liquid Citadel already contemplating the re-engage off the back of a Strange.
Yeah, but it's going to be a little bit late in the day, perhaps, as Energy's the one to sort of switch over. Somebody needs to try to come in and touch, and it's sort of forced out from Polly. He gets eliminated. There's now just every single player that can get on, as the portal is going to allow a re-engage, but everybody else is dropping.
Eyes on Cooper, though, 86% of the way towards a Raging Royal Flush. Trust Me goes down, but it's instantly brought back yet again by the Battle Recall Beacon going in one after the other. Polly is back already, and the tenacity of Dr. Strange is not enough to try and make this one work. Now Cooper sees an opening, dragging everybody forward. Terra wants to be the primary target here, and Cooper's given themselves a damage boost. Jerky going to be the next one to fall. Veswa sets up the shield and begins to charm all those who dare show themselves to the White Queen. Rajaro is tempted by the pretty lady. The same here for Terra, who peeked a touch too long, stared into the sun, and had their eyes burned out by Veswa.
Clever boy Veswa using the jump pad to make the Sonic Seduction be a siren song from the skies. Pulls the Vanguards in, and Na'Vi forced to reset. The portal play was looking a little bit dicey, but these kind of moments Liquid Citadel are living for on stage.
Na'Vi now have their Engager, though. They still have the Cosmic Gun Amplifier and save 5 ultimates overall.
You just don't have the Royal Flush, so you're going to take those trades in the end, but you're going to also have to take the hard route to actually get through onto the point. This forward hold with a minute left on the clock means it's a gauntlet for Na'Vi to even touch the point, never mind take it.
Jerky's going to be looking for an opening here. The Barna Cook is one of the primary win conditions here for Na'Vi, but Speedily is going to be getting aggressive once Fate real bad, and Energy's there to finish it. Oh, what a body block there from Polly. But the invisible boundary has to be raised nonetheless, as Trust Me has also joined in on this one. A couple of charms. Terror on the outside has grabbed so many, but it would appear that Gladrox has been slain by those who remain uncontrolled. Stuck on the outside. Spider Sweeper activated. So much extra damage coming through, but the extra health that Polly's gained allows them to survive. And Team Liquid Citadel, they are all about the defense.
And Jerky was just trying to get that final hit in onto Polly, but when he has a drone on and all of the other strategists turn to face him, Energy now is looking to see if he can get the tag in and set the Glowtrox up to scoop up all of Na'Vi with little time remaining.
And get the quick 3D peek. He's been known! Oh, all your secrets are belong to Terra. And now Rajaro can roll on forward. Team Liquid Citadel back off. They're going to wait for as long as possible to get energy back as easily as they can. Big moves moving through from Jerky. There's the resets. Even more on the dock if they want to go after Veswa. Looking for a cleanse, but all you can find is Polly and Na'Vi have finally broken down these hallowed walls.
I know we're in the City of Angels, but we're seeing a lot of characters take to the sky that don't usually. First, it was the Emma Frost with a jump pad, and then Jerky just parkouring his way across the streets of Shin Shibuya. Now Na'Vi actually able to at least get off of this first point on the attacking side. It's not going to be a full hold for Team Liquid Citadel, but this is the common area where things end on this defense. It's not often you see a team that pushes them beyond this. Maybe Swamp Gaming, or yeah, we lost at Cases, but that's been about it.
F1 Croc and Cooper now drawn even when it comes to the Raging Royal Flush. Veswa is going to be isolated on the bottom. It's going to be taking a bunch of damage. You can see the team up choose to try and force Veswa out of that, but Cooper's going to be active as well. Energy's fallen on down, went too far in. Anti-heal from Cooper getting active, but actually fleeing away. A Bayou Bash as the fear of Na'Vi is struck into the heart of Liquid Citadel, but still they're keeping this point contested. Veswa and Polly sacrificed their life force for it, and Cooper's forced to do the same. A twirl of a baton, but it's far from a party.
It was just that split. It felt like they went in on the Royal Flush. It was traded, watching it over from Cooper's perspective. You see everybody else just drop onto the low ground. Na'Vi is a full wrecking force. Take the split fight. Seeing if they can sort of take as much space up on this high ground, BR back set up behind this corner, and because there's no Daredevil, there's no Black Cat, it means it's a pretty good perch position. Has to be Polly that actually has to clear up the space.
Rajaro doesn't have the Meteor M in time to try and deal with Speedly's damage. A perfect timing from the Flex Duelist as Terra's brought on back by the Resurrection. Veswa's overextended. Extra damage from Fate. What is Energy ulting, bro? What is my boy seeing? sub in green energy right now because the Liquid Citadel need a hero, and they don't have any ultimates. Nero was the closest and has gone down too early. Terra gets Polly off the back of their own Glass Rocks, and Energy has to try and get involved himself. It's Skeet shooting for Terra, and now they turn on a dime towards the back line of Team Liquid Citadel, who have been swept through on second.
This is a fight that clearly Team Liquid Citadel don't want to take, but Energy switching over towards the Bucky. Maybe got a bit too clever, I think, with the Apex Predator. Yep, you're coming around this corner. Nope, no, you're not. We'll see you on the main point. And Na'Vi will see them in the second area, the second checkpoint of Shin Shibuya. A full push would be crazy considering this is one of the hard maps to finish in the end. But having the ultimates that they have in hand means that Liquid Citadel might have more to deal with.
Citadel, built from the ground up, brick by boring brick, to be absolute masters of defense. The buildings seemingly in favor of Team Liquid Citadel right now as Rajaro finds many of their sword bashes taken to the wrong side. The heels of Veswa, they were eaten away. Rajaro looks for a victim, is gonna settle for two! Cooper and Energy are down, and Polly's gonna be the next to join them. All Nero can do is move over onto a point, and Speedly's there as well, but Na'Vi get ever more distance.
They're gonna push, they're gonna be confident, and they can rely on Crook having in his back pocket a grand old card of that Royal Flush to maybe set this one to bed on the attacking side of Na'Vi. Liquid Citadel pretty much pushed onto the back foot, hoping to get a Royal Flush on early for Cooper, but right now they just need to find some space and open it up because Na'Vi have the bottlenecks.
Timing here for Na'Vi. They've got a slight advantage when it comes to a Raging Royal Flush. Can they find an early opening? Energy's not going to be receiving Cooper's buffs. Another one, Crook's getting involved himself as well. Only a singular frag towards the back as Jerky wants to play it safe. Veswa's taking so much damage. Terra's there on the side. Polly can't move forward. Needs to set up a defensive bastion instead. But right now it's all hands on deck for Team Liquid Citadel. They do not have the biomass to make this one work. The Rage of Ultron, so much healing, but they just don't have the strength. They just don't have the weight, and they just don't have the players. Na'Vi, bring it home.
It's the first time we've seen Na'Vi on this map all year. First time we've obviously picked it. And immediately they're pushing on one of the oldest and hardest maps. It took a bit of a rest out of the main pool of maps that we've seen in Ignite, but came back earlier this year. Na'Vi choosing a perfect opportunity to bring it out. And seeing the final hits that are coming in, Terra is now starting to show up massively. But trust me, every time there's like a key pick, it's always him that's involved. He's leading the team from the front, and everybody's on the same wavelength. You've got to say for Jerky as well, looking to go for the Ultron himself, as it isn't going to be one-sided. And now, well, it's just going to be even the chance to go for the Penny themselves. So if Na'Vi actually want to go for that composition, it is free and open to them. It's just you sort of expected them to just have an answer to it, but no, they're going, you've got a nice idea there, son. We're gonna sort of put our EMEA spin on it.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. It would be a shame if somebody took it.
Well, it's also for Jerky, it's like the first time we've seen him sort of play the strategist, being sort of called a triple strategist merchant, right? He is a flex player, but he went through a lot of playing Mantis. Not only is he being able to sort of show up on the Duelists, but he's had performances that have rivaled what Terra's been able to put out.
Jerky's always been the linchpin of this team. Well, it has been Terra who's exploding, trust me, doing the leading. Everyone else just being reliably skilled in their defined roles. Jerky's always been the one that it's fell upon. We're going to play Mantis. You need to play Mantis. We're going to... Oh, the stadium did not like that one.
And look at Trust Me's face. Not even a smile as he gets a 2K with the Penny setup. But if there's anybody that wants to go for these early plays, it's going to be them. Liquid Citadel, we already taken a player down, but let's listen how they want to try to poise for this attack.
I think we should go to main once.
Yeah.
We kind of just got
You can just damage after mid, damage after mid.
Try to take this top.
Invisible? Yeah, we need to take top from Elsa.
Take top.
I don't care. Here we go.
Here.
Come back.
Back low.
There's mines, by the way, on that left door. Like, on that left door.
Don't walk into the wall. Take your left.
I'm breaking mines. Mines are gone.
Damage to mid.
Take a turn.
I need to blind. Yeah, damage to turn. Ready. 3, 2, 1. Damage.
That was the Razor live listen in. It was breaking lines, might be breaking ankles now as Na'Vi are put under the pressure on the objective.
Turn taken, but it might be time to turn back here for Team Liquid Citadel as Na'Vi are going to take theirs off the back of Rajro's drawn greatsword. Still would appear that Team Liquid Citadel have been able to earn themselves some space here, taking down the mine. Speedly has to be cautious of the ground above him to make sure they aren't flanked upon too easily. A lot of damage taken here by the Penny Parker. You can see the anti-heal was put over there onto Rajro. It seems like there's going to be enough pressure taken away though as Terra finds energy in the neutral.
Had to back out again. Liquid might be sort of getting a taste of their own medicine here as Veswa is taken out on the exit. There's still 2 minutes left, plenty of time, and it seems calm in the comms from the Razor listening that we just had for Team Liquid Citadel. But Na'Vi know that this composition's very good. We get to see them try it out themselves, and so far, it's working.
Cool, calm, and collected for Liquid Citadel. And so they're going to go for a new approach, going for an early teleport. With 2 minutes on the clock here, it doesn't mean we're not going to have an emergency one towards the end, Ryan.
This was the OG map to go for the early portal plays. It's a little bit later in the day, but it's not right at the end, so it's somewhere in the middle ground. Liquid Citadel need to be careful as it's not going to be available in OT if they get full held here on Shin Shibuya.
Fully stacked ultimates for a bunch of our teams, speedily making moves towards the back line, but the invisible boundary is drawn up to try and stop it. Still an overlay here from Na'Vi. Could be a brutal mistake. A rescue from Cooper on the other side. There's extra healing to go on through, but Fate's already been taken down and so can't bring out their own ultimate later. The Spider Sweeper starts to begin, but trust me, just being taken away from the point by the constant knockback of the Gambit team up. And Cooper's still alive and kicking, throwing out the cards when they're needed the most. Na'Vi are going to start the TP on back. Fate's given up a charge towards the Raging Royal Flush to allow for yet another defense. Energy looming above with the Glass Rocks in the back pocket, ready to send out that Avatar.
And Fate's the one switching over to the Stranger. It means the Jerky has to immediately switch on over. He's gone to Gambit.
Oh, Terra didn't get much with the Gladrox, but a bit of energy didn't get anything either. Both for Gladrox is not going to be getting too much in the way of value, and Rajra also can't find too much with the Meteor M. An overextension there from Trust Me as they were pulled in by the temptation of a frag to turn this one around. And the Ancestry Charge just turns Doctor Strange into roadkill, a slaughter, a splatter of what was once a wizard.
Liquid Citadel get things moving, but they have to finish the map. They want to keep themselves in this choice of Na'Vi that so far, played up the strategy. They're going to keep Trust Me over on the Penny. And Jerky switching on to various different characters now onto a 2-2-2 setup again. Never mind, there goes to Penny. Gambit's back in the hands of level 1 Crook. And that old default composition, I suppose, for Na'Vi is back in their hands. And Liquid Citadel still on what they've been on so far this best of 5.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Veswar switch here after their next felling. Going up against this many guns on the thing is not a fun experience, but it's another clobbering time to try and open up the next fight. Polly has to stay away from that window. Can't afford to get grabbed by Jerky. Would appear they aren't even going to go for Barnet Cook there, knowing that Team Liquid Citadel are too disciplined to pull those Ultrex.
There goes Veswa trying to go in and go push past. The clobbering time is only going to hit Rajaro, and somehow he's still alive. The sustain is there. It's built up level 1 Crook, a Royal Flush, and Na'Vi hold.
And now Team Liquid Citadel, they're going to do their old bait and switch, disengage as fast as they can. Polly's going to be the primary target. Does Jerky want to go even further with this is the question. With Polly going down, it might not be the best economic moment to make it work, and Terra can't find the exit.
Kraken's impact in hand. Things have calmed down a little bit more in the end, but Veswa, after using clobbering time, has had a good opportunity to go and reset over to the Emma Frost. Means that a lot more damage is going through, but for Na'Vi, they're not really going to bank and build up any more ultimates. Really want another Royal Flush if you can help it, but right now, everybody else is pretty much topped up.
Speedily can make the move with the Rage of Ultron. We know how quickly he finds those off angles off the back of his shift, and the damage boost on themselves as well. Here we go, Speedily looks for the angle, but it's answered by the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier around the back. Energy was looking for some of the Glass Rocks, but all they find is Terra, and they find themselves a little Elsadif in the midst of all of this. Na'Vi counter-strike, the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier was enough, and Team Liquid Citadel put in so many resources for nothing.
It's Energy going again for this flank play with the Apex Predator, but the whole building fell down on top of him. The terrain was not in his favor, and the pressure might be falling onto Liquid Citadel a little bit more as Na'Vi, 1 minute left to try to defend. Of a perfect position to be set up. No strategist ultimates for now, but some big ones used up from Liquid Citadel. They don't have much.
Rajro not going to have to answer the Rage of Ultron now with the Meteor M, but look at this. A very aggressive usage of the invisible boundary. Can you try and shut down Nero, who hides away for now? Energy just going to be the primary target, but Rajro stayed inside of the invisible boundary for too long. They could not have the heals delivered, and this is the opening that Citadel were waiting for.
It's who blinks first there. Rajaro wanted to try to use the invisible boundary to disguise where that Meteor M was coming in on, but it just makes him an easy target for Speedery to actually blow him straight up the sky. Spider Sweeper for Polly might be the thing to springboard to get onto this second checkpoint. But all through that, Liquid Citadel holding on, and Veswa's almost got another clobber in time.
Apex Predator, they're just going to settle for Veswa, and Veswa might be enough for Spider Sweep from the other side. Nero and Energy have already gone down, and guess who's in the corridors? It's Trust Me, the captain, squishing Liquid Citadel.
And this map choice is looking good. Veswa has to go in for the portal play, so that clobbering time is not going to be much use here. But now it's just a case of being able to try to touch. You've at least forced overtime, but narrowly you've lost energy in the process.
It's a high cost to pay, but it's one that had to be paid. Veswa moving forward now. He's so good on the Doctor Strange, but will it be enough here? Going up against the Kraken Impact, taken low, looking for a reset. The focus fire's solid, and now Jerky lies in wait and slams down to the ground. And Avenging Icarus fights for Terra Firma and fights for a grand finals. They're nearly at the match point. Team Liquid Citadel are crumbling away, and Na'Vi go up to match point 2-1.
They saved one of the best maps to last for them. Really giving Team Liquid Citadel a taste of how Shin Shibuya works for EMEA. We saw a good amount of it in preseason, but for stage one, for literally everybody, nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to fight for it. And it's another top performance from the Vanguards. Every win that we've seen from Na'Vi has either been Trust Me or Rajaro. This time, pretty sure it's the team captain himself that gets this one.
The team captain, standing tall, leading well, and it would appear that they managed to work a counter-strat in towards how often we saw Team Liquid Citadel win fights off the back of masterful baiting as they disengaged from the Gambit ultimates. This time, it would appear that Na'Vi were a little bit more cowed, they're a little bit more subdued with how they were chasing after those one fights to make sure that it couldn't be turned against them, even in a 4 versus 6 scenario.
And it was just the coordination of like, okay, we're making this Penny Ultron work ourselves. It was available. It's something that Liquid Citadel was so focused on what we need that they weren't looking too much outside of the obvious culprits of who you're taking out. It does mean that like Na'Vi had the chance to mirror exactly what Team Liquid Citadel was setting up for the most part. Main difference, I think, being is like a one-sided Magneto versus like the Rocket as well that was protected. Fate was able to do quite a lot on it in the end. Beerbacks mean that any few eliminations that came in against Na'Vi were quickly put in. But as a setup, like match point so far, one more map in favor of Na'Vi, and they found themselves in another grand finals of an international event, making it free for free. But it also means that the map pool opens up again. Domination, Convergence, and Convoy all available to choose for Team Liquid Citadel. You'd imagine Domination to be an open one, right? Because it's been good for them up until that series up against Na'Vi. But you've got the likes of Spider Islands, which has looked good for them. Saw them play it against Swamp. Swamp picked it, didn't quite work in the end. Even the likes of like Central Park is a potential option. The thing that worries me, though, is that Krakoa was the choice of Team Liquid Citadel when they had Domination open again, and they can't go for that. We've already seen it. We already saw how rough it went for the top team of the Americas.
26-1 is an astonishing record, Ryan. But when the 1 is the most recent, it does start to shed doubt on where to go. But we know that Team Liquid Citadel are a phenomenal team that likely have a bunch of maps they've been playing in scrims. Maybe they'll go to like an old classic of Penny Parker. It seems that Penny Parker is their chosen strategy for this tournament, and that means maybe like a Central Park or Spider Islands, as you said. Those are both great Penny maps. Symbolic Surface could also be on the docket as well.
Pretty much everything that we haven't seen so far is available and open, other than Phoebes. Yeah, we're not getting that just yet. That would be crazy to see in a game like this. But I think one thing to sort of realistically note is there was the change. If you go to Domination, you did ban out Storm right at the end there. It was protected for the second map, and it was left open, which was probably one of the things that made Team Liquid Citadel's life a lot harder on Domination. Maybe that becomes a little bit more prevalent. But Na'Vi feel like the draft has been essentially the same. They have an idea and a plan that they're sticking to, and so far it's working. For Liquid Citadel, it's just those minor adjustments coming in. Like I mentioned, Trust Me, getting the MVP of that one, Rajaro was going to be able to get it in the first map. And that's right, it's been all the Vanguards, which is sort of what is expected when you have sort of 4 of the best frontliners in the world. And I'm saying that because 3 of them are from Europe.
Well, I think we can all just soak in these stats. Look at how much damage Level 1 Crook is doing, by the way, on the Gambit. Like, Cooper and Gambit, both incredibly aggressive. Or rather, Cooper and Crook are both incredibly aggressive on the Gambit, and that's what allows Cooper to be able to build up these Raging Royal Flushes, essentially with parity with Level 1 Crook, even while having the healing resources that you could turn into ultimates sapped away by having an Ultron.
Oh, Midtown. Ooh. It's a good map, like we're seeing a lot of this. And it's one of the maps that we see a little bit more of the chaos happen, but it always tends to give cinema, I suppose, in like long series where Midtown's thrown in the middle of it. We've seen the likes of Blade, Iron Fist used in previous tournaments, even for the likes of Swamp Gaming for Deus, who's unfortunately sort of sat in the rafters with the VIP area just watching to see exactly how these two teams are actually going to face on land. Like, there's been a lot of like scrimming across the Atlantic, not trying to give too much in your own region away. And you have to imagine that Na'Vi and Team Liquid Citadel, up until they saw that they were going to potentially face each other in mid-season finals, were probably sort of trading secrets, trading scrims, seeing exactly what the answers are going to be. But here, I'd imagine that the onus is a little bit more on Team Liquid Citadel to actually find some difference makers, because it has been effectively the same draft, the same game plan. There has to be an adjustment somewhere that might find the opening.
Spirits are high in an RV camp, and where else could we go but Midtown, Ryan? After all, for a big Marvel event, what would it be without a few gratifying shots of New York being destroyed?
It'd be nice to see a little bit of Jeff, as we have the voice actor here.
Oh, true. This is a terrible Jeff map, though.
Yeah, well, when we had the team up with Storm.
Oh, that's true.
Jeff Nadeau, but I think I also, like, Frostmountain got a touch. He's one of, like, the sort of main Storm players. He was like, the Storms are using the wrong team up. They're using the form one. You have to hold it still. I can't read that.
I think I said show them some TLC. Sorry, Ryan's got glasses.
Tender loving care, and I have tender loving cataracts as well, so it makes it even harder to read. But like, you know, because he said it on, I think we're sort of waiting to just get the teams in place. A couple of Na'Vi players disappearing. Probably just need the little boys' room, potentially, just because this is looking to be a long day for them.
I hope everyone has fun. You know what? Me too. Based sign. 10 out of 10, no notes.
But speaking of Jeff, to bring it back to most important character, I would say, like Cozy there, like, you either love or you hate Jeff, right? 50-50. I think most people love Jeff as a character. Jeff players, however, they can go playing Traffic on the 4 or 5 as far as I'm concerned. But it's these kind of moments, again, like all of the voice actors, a good portion of them are very much here. Armed and Dangerous is going to be heard again and again and again. You're also going to hear that again and again from the other room, as he is here.
Yeah, Eli is here.
I think there's even going to be some desk appearances as well from some of the voice actors, which is terrifying. I like the silent voice actors. Hello, nice to be here. Voice like, it made me jump.
Well, you got to intimidate some Oni, you know? Like, it's a very important part to have the fierceness within them. And yeah, we're very thankful to Marvel, to all of our voice actors, to the venue staff here who've been incredibly accommodating. The venue just looks absolutely fantastic. And thankful to you, our audience here in Los Angeles, California, to coming out and seeing the best that Marvel Rivals has to offer in terms of players.
I think that's the main one. Like, we had the event mid-season finals in China last year. We had grand finals at DreamHack Atlanta, sort of like amongst that event. Here, it's our own separate thing. And I kind of like that, right? Like, we have our own little space that is just for, like, the esports scene, but there's also a collection, a celebration of the game with the performance early. I believe there's another one later on as well. So really, pretty much all of the flags and banners are out for Marvel Rivals to celebrate what's just been, like, 18 months. Not really the best, like, anniversary sort of thing to go off of, but more stuff to come in the future. Even with the winner of this, you've got the Hood joining the game next week. So straight back to the drawing board, and probably the next character after that by the time that stage 2 happens, if I can read a calendar, which I'm pretty sure I can.
Yeah, like the Hood seems like probably is going to be like a gun-based Vanguard. And for last time we got one of those, Vanguard Deadpool, it's shifted up the meta considerably. And we got to remember that he's also going to anchor a team up with Jubilee as well, which might drag Jubilee into the meta with constant access to that hit scan healing.
And Magic, when we have Kingsman on a team that's actually qualified for stage 2 as a sub.
John name dropped today, aren't you?
I mean, we can go from there. Who else have we not mentioned? I haven't spoken about J3.
Yeah, what about J3?
Either.
He's handsome.
I mean, usually it's the ball telepathy that sort of we can talk to each other that
Usually
way.
we just talk to each other over distances.
Pretty much. I have him on mute for the most time, like in comms, but like it's common. But like lots of people watch party, and even some of the other talent that isn't here as well, like Pacific. You know, Dan is having a meltdown from watching the Gen G games. But there's also just these moments, I suppose, of like the whole region, whether you're like involved in esports scene a lot, whether you're just sort of one of the main content creators. This is the day to be watching. If you're new to the esports scene, this is the day to sort of pick on up. And as a reminder, the champions of pre-season and stage 1 for EMEA be Na'Vi. And the like over the Atlantic for Americas is Team Liquid Citadel, who are currently a map down in this best of 5. One more, and they end up in the losers bracket against a very hungry Rad that want to slay some more giants.
I mean, Rad have just been on such a tear down there. I would not want to be in that losers bracket. It looks absolutely terrifying to go up against as we're about to get settled into our draft for what could be the last map of our winners finals, Ryan.
And it's been almost 4 months since either of these teams have lost a series. And like I said, in that amount of time, we have had Black Cat, we have had the likes of Devil Dinosaur, Cyclops, Jubilee being added. And in that time, Na'Vi and Team Liquid Citadel have dropped a couple of rounds, a couple of maps, but never a complete series. They're sort of looking exactly the same so far, but Na'Vi have put a little bit more pressure over on getting the Adam out early, with the one-sided mag potentially still being open, but maybe a little bit later on.
Okay, mirror draft coming through. Question is here, are Team Liquid Citadel once again going to protect Polly's penny?
I think one of the things to highlight too so far is like the map choices that have come in. Both teams on their map choices have finished the map.
Ooh, that's a ban. Interesting.
Seeing it come in a little bit later, but yeah, Emma Frost, it's really good on this map. It sort of takes away some of the triple Vanguard setups that you can have, certainly on the defense, as Team Liquid Citadel are attacking first. They want to make sure that they don't get full held on what could be their saving grace. They're also going to actually be able to get a hold of the Magneto, which means that Na'Vi's final ban, you'd have to imagine, would be Penny Parker.
Oh, they might get rid of a Gambit here to try and nerf Cooper, maybe a Storm that's been hovered here, and Storm going away. This is interesting. Admittedly, this is probably one of the better maps to have Emma be taken away from you, because Trust Me is likely going to move everyone to the group, which has been a mainstay of Midtown since its inception.
So looking at this, again, no Mantis available for either of the sides, and when you get onto these certain game modes, Loki and Adam become a little bit more of a prevalent focus to just stop copies, to stop Be Right Backs being aplenty, but that is still available and still protected for Na'Vi in the end. Pretty much has been the same drafts other than that small change, just to make sure that some of that frontline power, certainly that was coming from Trust Me or Rajaro, as both were able to play the Emma Frost, not going to have it in hand.
For those of you uninitiated to the deep lore of esports, Na'Vi, Natus Vincere, Latin. It means born to win, and they are currently one map from doing so. Los Angeles, do you think the Liquid Citadel can defy being born to win? I'd say they think so.
I'm trying to work out, like, does that mean you think that Na'Vi are going to win?
Yeah, I think that means that they think that Team Liquid Citadel are going to go to a 5th map. That wasn't the best constructed sentence I've ever made, but...
No, I think that's Mombi being stupid, but certainly one thing to say is that these two teams are smart and well-versed in what each other want to try to play up in the end. But it's the triple strategist again for Team Liquid Citadel on the attack with the Fully Ultron. And Trust Me has taken energy out again instantly.
The oldest trick in the book, baby. Still works. That one's going on Reddit.
It's a great way to start. And Trust Me has tried to pull out as much penny as possible in the early days. Little did we know how much of a prevalent focus of the meta it is going to be. But it means that Magneto's available on Vesua, so a bit more balance to try to fight this as they try to push on the attack.
Trust Me, gonna hold strong here. And first point of Midtown is always the most contentious, and Rajaro going down already off the back of an excellent force physics from Nero. This is the kind of agency you want to see from a top-tier strategist. Terra needs to find an opening on the other side. Is playing aggressively because they know that without Rajaro there needs to be some kind of retribution given. Trust Me's already fallen down as well, and so Na'Vi just have to feed onto the car.
Energy finds himself free. Things start to churn on forward, so Na'Vi do have a little bit of a window to not have to go for a portal play this early, sort of sprint in. Check up as much as they possibly can with this setup, but immediately that distance is closed down for Team Liquid Citadel.
A wide cyberweb snare shuts down energy midway through their bionic cook, and Na'Vi are happy to just slowly walk back here rather than expending their portal early.
Speedily just taking pot shots at Fate as much as possible. Still not built up that Rage of Ultron, which in earlier patches we might have seen 2 of them by now, but it's a little bit slower. Later in the day, Invisible Boundary is going to be in first for Nero.
Nero gets aggressive, and Trust Me's fallen down. Level 1 Croc and Fate are still so far away from their own ultimates. They can't rescue Trust Me and Rajaro, and this could be ruinous as Terra tries to turn this one around. But Glatrox grabs one. Turkey's got 2 final blows, but Level 1 Crook's fallen on down. And now only with the healing of the Ultron, surely it's going to be untenable. Fate with the last chance. Loon and Rajaro is too late. Instantly gets out of a portal and moves away.
Jara jumping in like, haha, I'm here. Haha, I'm leaving. I'm gone. Get out here, try and reset. It's the first point, and the portal used up in the end. Yeah, Jerky showing that even on a strategist, he could still play as a duelist in areas, but Liquid Citadel choosing this map. It's basically been trading out like on these maps. If you have a game plan, whoever's picking it has the real advantage, and Liquid Citadel finishing on Yggdrasil all the way. Want to do the same here on Midtown.
All right, often we see easy second points after that first point has been taken against the 3-3 compositions. But with Terra being that backstop, maybe it's openable. Speedly moves out from their cover, looking to try and finish this one off! Rojaro gets it done again, baby! Speedly and Energy, both crushed under the might of a master of magnetism.
And Speedily thought he was being coy, sitting around the corner, waiting for the invisible boundary and just getting the end of what was the Royal Flush from Cooper. But Rojaro only has one thing to do with that Meteor M, and it's to slam down the Ultron into the ground, mixing with the shrapnel. And now Na'Vi holding the map, the payload in a strong position. It's hard to retake from here, but Liquid Citadel having to push through with 2 Vanguard ults.
And now it's Vespa's turn. Finally has the mag in hand. They told me he was the best mag in the world, but he's going to be doing it without energy. And now Vespa's isolated, down to only 100 HP. Tries to turn around with a Meteor Ram, grabbing level 1 Crook. It's a masterful maneuver from Vespa as he turns on the next one of a mag cannons firing on all cylinders. Welcome back, Master of Magnetism once again.
So much focus goes on Vespa being one of the best Magnetos in the world. He hasn't had the chance to really play it so far, but Na'Vi left it open. It was protected in the end. More of that focus coming through, and more of the push goes on as Jerky is last to be taken out, as Na'Vi didn't want to take the fight.
He's just disgusting. And now moving through this doorway into all of these mines and all of the pain. Great play from Na'Vi. They're going to root around the right-hand side instead to avoid volley setup.
Oh, he's been spotted though. Apex Predator wants to find the lineup and is able to at least grab a few from Terra, but Invisible Boundary forced out.
Yeah, but Nero's Invisible Boundary was too far back. Polly was dragged out of it now, but Na'Vi have to play inside the confines that Nero has set up. It's almost done, and Polly's returned via the Battle Recall Beacon. A self-shield to try and save themselves from Energy, who can't find anything off the Bionic Cook. Looking towards the high ground, Jerky's just hovering up there, waiting to bring out the next damage boost, but Speedly's made sure that everyone on their team is absolutely hot to trot with extra damage here. Terra's been revived, but Energy's taken down Fate on the other side, and Rajro just needs to try and hold the line now as Vespa begins to chip at the old block. The sword has been drawn, and it sinks into the flesh of Na'Vi. Liquid Citadel continue their roll.
Polly, the Spider Sweeper, was just chipping away at the damage, chipping away at whatever resources Na'Vi had available to fight in that one. But Liquid Citadel, they're making so much use out of the rocket. The Battle Recall beaten for both sides has kept those fights going in the end. But it means that Liquid Citadel, if they're pushed, they're in a player disadvantage, 5 versus 6. They're still not afraid to go for some of the big ultimate dedications, knowing that a player's going to be back very soon. And with these compositions, nobody's playing flanks to try to clear it up.
Energy playing smart. Just getting extra push on the car, already having ult, not willing to feed the strategy. So Speedly's getting active once again. Extra damage boost over onto level 1 Crook. Will there be any peel here for the Invisible Woman? Terra just gets it done in midair. A nice bounce of a living bullet. Now it's Vespa's turn to try and turn this one around. Jerky might be the primary victim. Indeed, he will be. So much damage has been done. And Energy has said, don't you dare forget about me, mate, because I'm still here. I'm still kicking.
It's just a trade-off. Speedway's using these Rage of Ultrons. It's forcing out the Meteor M for Rojaro, but because it's not matched with the mirror compositions, now it means that Vespa has a bit more freedom to go for eliminations, to go for picks, to force this back, and Na'Vi pretty much sent all the way back to these spawn doors. Very little to work with ultimates. Jerky very close to a Kraken's impact. And trust me now, Strangling Prison's it's thrown out. It's managed to catch a few, but not enough.
There's 3 in there, trust me though, doesn't have the backup to make it work. Nero just plays on the outside, brings up the Invisible Boundary and plays it safe. Jerky's been returned, yes, but trust me, can't even make it to the car. They're so close to the goal because we aren't amplified for the last chance, and Jerky might be the one to make it work. Yet another reset, yet another res. Nero can't go anywhere. Their roll is slowed on the other side, but Jerky just has to settle for zoning. Instead moves over onto Vespa, getting rid of the Magneto, walled away from the remainder of the team.
Clever from Na'Vi. You've got the Strangling Prison and Kraken's impact combination potentially to come in, but having the Groot use his ultimate first, it forces the Invisible Boundary on the other side, which means that Jerky has a bit more freedom to just go for the picks. And even with 3 strategists, it's not enough to keep those members of Team Liquid Citadel alive. Terra's now the one sat with an Apex Predator, seeing if he can sort of sneak around, but with many traps, making sure that Team Liquid Citadel can't take any of this high ground to put this pressure and make these off angles a little bit more troublesome on the defense.
3D Peak's going to be everything. Fake goes down to a mine from Polly. Unbelievable stuff. That must have been a crazy flank, but Terra's found one as well. Both of the Rocket Raccoons are full down. Speedly's on the other side as well. Perma-slowed is Polly, who all they can do is Spider sweep away from the action. Energy and Vespa just go for a quick reset, and Polly just tries to rescue Nero, who has brutally been staggered.
He was so close to finding the pick up to Crook that is forced to use that invisible boundary. Fate getting eliminated. He's not able to use his own be right back, so he was going to be out for a good portion of time. And I'm watching it from Polly's perspective. It's like, I must go, my people need me. And Anime runs his way back to his team, but gets picked off late in the day. 30 seconds left for Team Liquid Citadel to try and finish Midtown.
His people may need him, but who are his people? Rajro looks for a victim, is going to settle for a little bit of extra damage on Poly, but that's just going to be converted into support. Oh, what is that? A solo ultimate onto NRG, and the pocket isn't quite there, but the resurrection will be on the other side. Level 1 Crook's been found in the back. Team Liquid Citadel using absolutely everything. It's now or never. It's all or nothing. It's a beautiful shield from Rajro to stop Veswa from fighting their man, but Energy's getting reset after reset. You can't bully me, because I just turned it around with a fat Uno reverse. Yet another for Energy, yet another brick for the Citadel.
Rock in a hard place, and Na'Vi found themselves between it, have their own Kraken's impact, and Terra's gone to Blade!
Terra trying to get away, coming in with the Blade, extra staying power off the back of the Soul, siphoning of the Bloodline Awakening. No resets here, because we Yarn Amplifier once again is taken down in record time inside of the invisible boundary. Nero's giving out so much HP, and Rajro just can't help but deal with it. Jerky looks on from afar, and Team Liquid Citadel sweep it through. Unbelievable offense.
No time left, but I think you're still going to take it. Every time we've seen these maps coming from Team Liquid Citadel, they've pushed it all the distance. And that was Na'Vi making the first move, right? The Strangler Prison to try to isolate Energy. And this is why Magneto's become such a prevalent, like, first or second protector in the case of Team Liquid Citadel. Those bulwarks, those shields, saving from death sentences, it feels like, either from the Strangler Prison that went on against Energy, or Veswa trying to get the slam dunk on with Rajaro saying, nope, not this time.
Na'Vi, though, this is where the last ban is concerning. They got rid of that Storm, which would have been most useful in breaking the spawn hold, but Team Liquid Citadel didn't even need it. They broke that first hold so quickly, Ryan. And that means that now you can have the Gambit in so many of these compositions as well, if you want, on Team Liquid Citadel.
The elimination's very much leading towards Liquid Citadel. Final hits for Energy, 16. But I want to highlight Nero, 22-1. In that Yggdrasil map that they did win earlier, Nero only died once. And it's looking the same here. Like, he is just incredibly good at staying alive and making sure that that main strategist is able to output that healing. Gives a little bit more freedom for Cooper to get aggressive if the Gambit's available, which it is. He wants to go for the Rocket, obviously, on the defense to just make sure that you have the recall beacon. And Na'Vi knows the kind of compositions that are coming into place. And Jerky having the Storm wasn't available for Liquid Citadel on their attack. It's been working against the Penny Ultron.
Yeah, that's been very useful against the Penny Ultron, usually used in tandem with the Punisher. We're not seeing it this time.
It's just going to be Terra actually seeing if we can get a little bit more involved. Already some big cooldowns used in the end. The damage boost is going to put everybody on Na'Vi in a poised position to force back Liquid Citadel, but Bulwarks used up from Rajaro just from all of this trash damage just thrown their way on the defense.
Oh, another couple of mines take out Fate. Poly's been very good with placing those, and Na'Vi are already back to the drawing board.
And it's also like Fate, right? It's Rocket. He's got really good mobility to get out of those situations, but it's Fate going down twice. Like we sort of mentioned, it's the same sort of role for Nero. Can't be losing out on one of those players, but at the very least it means that the recall beacon's not going to be used upon the attack, but the attack hasn't really gone anywhere.
And she has so much staying power as well, using that Sonic team up from the Emma. The clone won't go away until you destroy it, and Poly places themselves in front of this point. Hero's got such a safe position. Jerky's moved over onto the Wolverine. Veswa's grabbed on in a perfect force physics. Nero is just being absolutely sublime. The champion that America's needed on the Invisible Woman.
It's just having the extra little bit of peel to work with. We saw so much Wolverine in play yesterday, seen FMCL play it a little bit Dace, and obviously Crazy Kitty. Just to find picks, because with these compositions, eliminations are hard to come by.
Okay, Gambit never folds, declares Crook, but Speedly is going to be thinking in the other direction. Poly goes down, but Poly comes back. It's a cycle that's continued to roll for Team Liquid Citadel. Well, Nero finally gets found, and Terra says, I am done here. I will clear the path by hook or by level 1 Crook.
Actually able to get things going, but Ultimate's dedicated pretty hard there. Rolling Thunder, Kraken's Impact. Energy actually going for a very early portal play, so we might not have that much time to wait for Na'Vi. They want to try and clear up that distance, but might need to run right back to the point. Energy's taking his fight.
Last stand ready to go already. Jerky has used their team up, and now we're going to try and run down Poly. Extra means to try and follow them through as they move over towards the side. Polly's down, and next up's gonna be the big old wizard. You can see the healing that came on through the triage good from Team Liquid Citadel. Their comms are so clean, but Vest was in the middle of all these players. Can you possibly try and escape? Energy looks above it as Rajro crushes down onto Cooper. Pest Control has arrived, and he's a finished mountain.
It all starts with like Jerky there, the portal play up on the high ground. Immediately coming out is Veswa with a Sonic Seduction to just dive onto their opponent. And Jerky, he just dives back. To wait and see if he can get a little bit of the extra help and setup. But Veswa now leaping in on Angela to see if he can stall.
Oh my goodness, so much HP is already gone, but Polly's managed to make it over onto the point. Veswa gets resurrected. Polly is so deep, has used the slider sweep of the additional HP, but Jerky just says, oh, that just means more damage for me, bro. Now they can just play this slow.
The Wolverine is absolutely earning top dollar here for Na'Vi. VR back means that Rajaro, he was the only elimination against him, but he's going to be back to the fray very quickly as Liquid Citadel are trying to sustain themselves.
Veswa grabbed, great counter pull coming through from the side of Nero, going down to bring out the axes of Icors. Level 1 Crook says it's now or never, and so it's time to raise the royal stakes, time to raise the royal flush. You'll look towards the Angela, but Speedley's fallen down on the other side. Level 1 Crook, the shades of Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself. And Terra's going to be the last one to come on through with a triple KO. The casualties mount. The stagger is brutal, and Na'Vi go to second.
Every time we highlight Terra being in these winning moments for Na'Vi, there's always a little bit of a flash with the way that he plays. The highlight reel just keeps adding on to our import from the Americas to EMEA. But that was also the Royal Flush dedicated from Crook, and there was no answer for Team Liquid Citadel at this point. The fight is still going on.
Another jump pack for Jerky. Another task for Nero. He hasn't missed one of these yet, but can you save now? Just trying to disengage. The Rage of Ultron moves on forward. They're going from the low ground here, which isn't ideal for Speedley's survivability. Jerky looking for the grab. A great parry coming through from Veswa. And they've expended the jump pack as well, so the next one won't be quite so brutal, but Speedley's out too far, and Terra's ready to punish them. Not going to get reset upon here after Energy brought in their own Kraken impact. Can Veswa escape? No! The cart's in the way. So too are the rest of Na'Vi. The body blocks are strong, but so too is the contest. The cart won't be moving, but the bodies pile up.
And with all of the stuff happening in that fight, the chaos, Crook is 80% to having another Royal Flush. He's just so involved in these engagements. Yarn Amplifier as well to just add a bit more damage boost to Jerky. Poised, Speedily is going to move over to the Black Cat to see if he can shut down stuff and dive the back line.
Last stand from Jerky. It's double bubbled. Great stuff from Veswa. Quick grab. That's going to be the regenerative healing factor. Needs to get back to the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. Extra damage. Veswa waiting for a victim. Is going to settle for the Seer, but the rest of Na'Vi is still on in here. Rajro goes himself, trying to follow after the strategist. He wants Cooper so bad, he gets him too. Veswa's gone down, and now it's just down to the Drakes to try and make something work, but they don't have the hope and they don't have the prowess. Na'Vi move to last.
And Liquid Citadel were trying to just set up in that fight speedily on the Black Cat, went for the flank, and Crook was like, hello, son, I am sending you back to spawn. I'll see you again in about 30 seconds' time. Energy's going for another portal play, forcing the fights. It's like watching Swamp Gaming all over again.
Well, in these narrow corridors, that's where Team Liquid Citadel want to be with their double shield. The first grab goes awry. Jerky still goes on in, does the extra damage, gets isolated temporarily, grabbed on the other side. There's nowhere to go. What beautiful control of the Wolverine. They tugged on the leash, and indeed they dragged him down. Rajro with a self-bubble looks towards Cooper, wants to find that backliner, and trust me, he's going to start to cook. It would appear that Terra's willing to join them. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, but each of them has a Michelin star when it comes to cooking the Americas.
One after the other, these ultimates being swung in from Na'Vi. The haymakers are slapping Team Liquid around, but somehow Liquid Citadel, the spawns have flipped. They're playing towards the attacking side, and Cooper gets caught out from Terra. That is just pot luck with these grabs.
It was a good stall of time, though, and they forced so many resources out from Na'Vi. 3 ultimates expended in that fight alone.
You got last stands, like Crook hasn't built up the Royal Flush in the same pace that he was able to before, but trust me, moving away from the Strange, the Groot even wanted to go up against Team Liquid Citadel, that they didn't have the cleanse in there from the Gambit, now going onto the Thing to really make this a battle in the streets of New York.
This is the final defensive bastion for the Citadel. Every brick blessed by the blood of martyrs, hard-earned and hard-fought for Jerky, looking for a victim. All they can find is a CC immune Emma Frost right now as they slash away, and Fate tries to rescue them with the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. The extra damage from Veswa means that they move through the Cosmic Yarn rather quickly, but can the healing be delivered? It would appear that Nero, Cooper, and Speedly can combine to make that work, but now in isolation once again, and Vespa doubles down, but didn't have the second bit of pocketing. Terra starting to make a move, a Kraken impact slows down Terra, and Energy's in on the chase with Rotter Stern, ducking into the corner, picking up a health pack. There will be no resets this day, and they've run out of energy in midair. Can he hit it? You better believe it, he can! Unbelievable stuff from Rajaro!
Speedly is just being in the back pocket of Magneto Rajaro, but it goes on. Clobbering time comes through from Trust Me, but it's interrupted. He's not able to get too much. BTRM's not going to match for Vespa, but he's on the point to try and stall his. 20 seconds left for Liquid Citadel to stop this going on.
Prepare for the glass rocks. The Apex Predator is on the fields of EU that it was born, raised and bred. A taste for blood, and he's going to be eating well. This is going to be additional rounds, surely, as Nero's going to be the last dreg of defense. Team Liquid Citadel have to do this one again.
Liquid Citadel having to go first. It's only a 7-second difference, but it means that we've seen it plenty of times. No matter what region you're from, Midtown overtimes can bring cinematic masterpieces. And now for Na'Vi, defending first again. Rajaro has been obscene, but Trust Me, having 27 final hits. Even in the moments that Jerky has been absolutely feasting and farming on the likes of Wolverine. Terra wants to be the winner, the leader, the MVP, the poster child of Marvel Rivals Esports, and he's doing it against the best team from his own region.
Long told have been the tales, Ryan, of Terra being the best player in the world, but never did he have a proper crown. A missed mid-season, missed championship with 100 Thieves as well. They couldn't find the accolades they deserved, but now they are right on the edge of it.
And on the other side, you've got Polly that was brought in from Citadel's rebuild from an EMEA team to a America's superstar with the help of Liquid and a couple of players from the old Envy and FlyQuest. He's been pretty much stuck on the same character. It's been the whole game plan for Team Liquid Citadel. If it doesn't quite work here, they've got another best of 5 and potentially another best of 7 to follow to see if they can work it out.
If anyone was going to stop Na'Vi, it was always going to be this team, Team Liquid Citadel. #1 in the Americas. Do they know about Jerky's approach? A quick grab, and Polly, all they can do is watch as they have so little control.
Na'Vi are reading it so well. They know all of the tricks of the trade. Rajaro just planted himself firmly onto the point itself. Means that pretty much half of the time that was allocated is going to be used up from Liquid Citadel. They need to find ways to work if there's any push through. And Polly moving away from the Penny for the first time onto the Thing.
Speedily, that means that no more Ultron can't get the team up, not worth playing. Instead moves over onto the Wolverine. He's going to take matters into his own hands. Agency aplenty for the Wolverine. Jerky just going to patrol along the high ground. Speedly's been seen on the approach, has already popped their team up. Misses the leap though. Rajaro with the parry on the self-bubble.
The window of time, deep breaths for Liquid Citadel as 45 meters is not going to be enough, and energy going down. The beer back means it's going to be used up early. Ultimate's about to come online as Jerky's trying to get involved and trying to get a pick.
Terra's almost got the Apex Predator already. Just doing so much damage in all of these battles, but trust me, he's going to be the first one there with the Strangling Prison. Looking towards the back, they want Nero real bad, but for now, Team Liquid Citadel are holding strong, but they've lost Nero in the back. Rajaro's getting it done. It's always Rajaro, man. Trust me, he's there to add to it. The clobbering time is real. Two duelists put on the floor as Polly says, never mind, my adopted region. I'll keep you safe. I'll keep you here. I'll keep the dream alive. But fate puts it into his own hands, and this little raccoon that could knocks out the monster that is Ben Grimm. Speedly's next on up, takes one away. Vespa's arrived on the Venom, but fate's brought out the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, and Rajaro's already teleported back. Energy the next to go. Nero brought up the play, but there's nothing to be done. They're not on the cart, Ryan.
45 meters, pretty much a 20-minute trip in New York if you're sort of taxiing around. Might not be enough in the end for Na'Vi. The line was drawn for them, and it's just a little bit extra. A push through, and you find yourself in that grand finals, a best of 7 later, and Team Liquid Citadel sent through the absolute gauntlet that is going to be rad, that is hungry for a revenge matchup in a full-blossomed BO5, and then potentially a matchup against these guys again later on. Terra is 60-9. which is more than double the eliminations of anybody, like the main player being Energy on the other side. He is involved.
It's time to raise the walls, draw up the drawbridge. They're called Citadel for a reason. Odysseus and Agamemnon stand at the gates of Troy. The Citadel must stand.
And for Na'Vi, it's a very similar call of just push on through, break their ranks, as Liquid Citadel are going to be screaming, hold. 1 minute and 7 seconds, it's doable, but there has to be some big moments. Rajaro's been involved in near enough all of the main notes of this Midtown. Let's see if there's going to be any Broadway performances from Liquid.
Or will it be a funeral dirge for America's last hope? Looking towards the sky, Rajaro just down on the ground. The nitty-gritty, always stuck in where he's supposed to be. Polly's just taking so much poke to begin with. That's just going to build up those strategist ults. Coming round the back, the Wolverine's already made a play, but the parry is solid, and it would appear that Team Liquid Citadel are just going to be able to deal with this one, as Trust Me is overextended.
It's 8 meters already. That's going to be the difference. This is fine margins, 45 seconds to hold. Na'Vi have got the bodies onto the objective, and Liquid Citadel reserved patient play.
Terra almost taken down by the arrayed fire of Team Liquid Citadel, but they can't disengage. They have no more mulligans, they have no more meters to give. Polly's been taken down by Terra, instantly revived by the BRB. The battle recall beacon means the battle keeps on going. Out comes the extra damage reduction from Jerky, but the vulnerability that Polly gave is too much to try and bear right now. A wrap around the outside. Na'Vi try and control the map.
Holding on as overtime is about to hit, but Energy's found that first pick up to Jerky that's been consistently involved, and Nero's built up an invisible boundary. Rolling Royal Flush is going to be used.
Everything on the table right now. Trust Me goes through with the clubber, but Energy's parried it with a self-bubble right now. Veswa getting involved. The Apex Predator around the outside. All the heals are basically gone for the Team Liquid Citadel. And I ask you, Americas, are these your kings? Are these your gods? Because Nasus and Chere are born to win, and they remember who they are!
The super team takes a loss in an upper bracket final again, but on the biggest stage against the biggest squad. Like we mentioned, Terra, the panache at the end, always in these moments. But MVPs aplenty. Jerky finally unleashed as the real flex with the X Factor right at the end of it. But the front line of Rajaro and Trust Me standing tall against the Citadel.
What an unbelievable story for Na'Vi. Twice in a row, perhaps this team could claim the mid-season championship.
But for the first time through the upper bracket itself, they're used to doing it when it was Rad at the mid-season finals. It was through the royal road that Rad are taking in the losers bracket, and it was down there when they were knocked down by Virtus Pro at the grand finals. But here, they have a window, they have a chance and a bit of time to hold on here and see exactly if it's going to be an EMEA matchup or whether that rematch that we just saw here is going to be a full best of 7 against Team Liquid.
The grand finals are waiting. The trophy is waiting. And now for Team Liquid Citadel, if they want to be the ones to hoist that trophy at the end of the day, they need to play 3 series in a row. They need to go and defeat Rad, come back and have revenge against Na'Vi in a best of 7, Ryan.
5 maps and then 7, and I mean there's been a lot of these like long days, but Rad have been pretty much at the center of all of them, so they're going to be a little bit cold in comparison to some of the games that we've seen, being sat up watching these games and just sort of letting the vibes take them in the server, because even like Dennis, their coach, was saying, they've been playing above and beyond what he's ever seen from these guys, even when they were unsigned. You got the unsigned players that finally got a roster of Rad coming up against this super team of Team Liquid Citadel that had an idea on how to play this, didn't quite work. But I really want to see what Na'Vi have to say as we go over to the stage to hear what they want to go through.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the 3rd time in the core team making it to the grand finals, give it up for Na'Vi and Terra for the first grand finals of his career. Terra, I've been watching you now for a very long time, all the way back into the early days. How does it feel, first of all, making your first grand finals?
I mean, this is phenomenal. I think I'm one of the players that put in the most work, and I put in way more work because I originally, when I came to Na'Vi, I said I wasn't going to take the responsibility that I had on Thieves, which was do most of the stuff, but now the whole team has put their trust into me in the ban phase, and I'm back to how I was before, into actually max passion into the game.
like Thanos, inevitable. I mean, it's gonna happen either way. And tell me, because I'm watching, and it looks like you are about to drop the map on y'all's push, and then you just lock in. And I've seen this, I've watched this, I've casted this over and over. It's Terra the Terrifying. What is going through your head in these emotions and during this time to just lock in and be Terra?
I mean, you have to kind of read the situation. We talked about swaps and stuff like that, but it didn't happen. So we can't, when we're going down with 10 seconds on the clock, you kind of have to make a hero play and see what the win con is. And that was, they're going to have a rocket all coming up. So I just continued to mark the rocket and I solo ulted him. That just won us the whole game because that's what we needed.
Awesome, and I gotta ask, listen, there's a lot of personality on your team. This is a new team for you. Obviously, we've seen some great up and down stories through it. Walk me through the team, the journey, you going over there. I know the crowd wants to hear it.
I mean, it was a rocky journey. It's been a rocky journey the whole time. Every team, this team especially, goes through ups and downs, hardships and fellowships. But every time we know all we want to do is win. All we want to do is lift that trophy.
And beautifully said again, viewers around the world here in LA, give it up for Terra and Na'Vi. We'll be seeing them again. They will return for the grand finals. Big congratulations, Desk. Break it down. Wow, congrats.
Third in a row for Na'Vi, but first in a row for Terra. A lot of firsts today. We have the 1 in 26-1, and now the first grand finals for Terra. And boy, howdy, do they deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think through what brought them there, so I was looking at the bans and locks, but to be honest, you've just got to say, Terra with 33 finals might be the most I have actually ever seen here in the pro scene of Marvel Rivals. Ignite's just been, that was just disgusting. Terra ending 66-9 for everyone to understand. Yeah, so my personal opinion, they love the mag, they love the rocket. Let's try to maybe ban that if I was TLC. Maybe that would have helped you get another map.
I mean, it's so interesting to talk about that too, right? First map, 7 finals. Second map, 4 finals from Terra. And it felt like they were just struggling to find the momentum for this team. But as you talked about, the lock-in was huge from them. But Rajaro also doing a great job. Trust me, the flexibility as a Vanguard, going from the Groot to even the Penny Mirror that we saw on Shin Shibuya, and then eventually locking in on the Emma initially for that first domination map win. I just love the look of this team. But I got to give a big shout out, of course, to Jerky, the Flex God. Wolverine, that's the best Wolf we've seen the entire event. Where's this been?
There is an argument. Crazy Kitty will be yelling at you from the audience here, but the fact is, Jerky's at the grand final and Crazy Kitty isn't yet. But Na'Vi, their draft ship, it almost feels like it's completely figured out.
Yeah, it's so consistent. I mean, it's Mag, Loki, Adam, Mantis, and then the one-time Storm, but I'll throw a flyer on that. Outside of that, it is Mag, Loki, Adam, Mantis, nothing else, ever. And then they lock Storm, Mag, and Rocket. It is the same exact story every time. I think you might have to disrupt it, whereas TLC, they had Mantis, Gambit, Ultron, Rocket, Loki, Adam, Storm, Emma. They were trying to figure out the solution. They didn't need to change a thing on the side of Na'Vi.
But whereas on the side of TLC, they are not out yet. Team Liquid Citadel go down to that lower bracket. And we can talk about their draft a little bit as well. Vod, we did see Polly off that Penny later on in those drafts, in those games.
Yeah, just kind of realizing that the Penny wasn't getting as much value as they would like, as you could even see in the highlights here with Jerky just marking them the entire time. I felt like that was the answer that was missing for Na'Vi, someone to deal with Polly. The Storm was the answer against Virtus Pro, who had been practiced with more of a passive Penny player, while Polly's anything but passive.
Oh, yeah. There is still a journey for both these teams, the grand finals. It is now time for Na'Vi to sit down and have a little break, or they said they're working hardest. They might just go straight back to grinding, straight back to scrimming at this point, just to try and make sure that they are warmed up. But Team Liquid Citadel, they now have to go for a rematch. Rad waits for them in that lower bracket, but the fact is, Team Liquid Citadel, they just had such a good series versus Na'Vi. Are you a little worried for Radship?
Yeah, I think TLC looked really good under Rad, so I would expect to see that again. But then again, the way this tournament's been going, who knows? Rad is just on a generational run, just a storied org at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Rad, we've seen the highs and lows from them as well, right? Did really good in the preseason, had some struggles during stage 1, especially with Dive not being as prevalent in those playoffs, and a lower performance than they would like at the start, and then they were able to go through that lower bracket. And it seems the lower bracket is their domain.
Just the org Rad in general, not even just this.
Yeah, that's so true.
We'll tell we once again we've told the story multiple times last year at Mid-Season Finals. This Na'Vi roster was under the RAD organization with a couple changes to the roster in terms of the duelist pool, but they came through the lower bracket and the play-ins in order to make it to the lower bracket
And
finals
MRC.
and then that grand finals and MRC in order to qualify for the grand finals, and then won those grand finals. And now the second RAD has an opportunity to do it, but standing in their way are the team that have done it before. Na'Vi sit in the grand finals, Team Liquid Citadel in the lower bracket for the last hope for the Americas ship.
I mean, looking at these stat lines here, we talked about 66 and 9 there for TeRa, 33 finals. And one of the things I thought was interesting that you brought up, Energy, went down 20 times and had 19 finals, so actually fell more than the 19 finals. There was some very good and precise targeting from TeRa, who will be the MVP of this match.
So much of that is due to, like you said, TeRa. While Energy had some incredible trades, and we even sort of get the best of TeRa so many times, we already mentioned it, 35 for some of those final hits. They went 33 and 9 at one point. It's just dominant, VOD.
What I've noticed too throughout this event is it feels like it's not just a solo duelist that has to be relied upon for the wins. It has to be both the flex duelist and the main duelist as well. TeRa had to rely on Jerky a couple of times when we saw him on the Elsa and Jerky on the Bucky. Then we saw the swaps happen for the Wolverine. He locked in the Bucky himself, and that synergy from this duo seemed to be a little bit stronger than what we saw from Team Liquid Citadel, where Speedery was kind of just stuck in that triple strategist role.
But now they have to see if they adjust it. Ship, you mentioned you might want to see TLC maybe widen out those drafting sides. And do you think that's going to be instrumental against RAD?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to see more of that dive stuff come in against RAD. And I think it's matched back. Well, the funny thing is it was matched back prior by Speedery, who was running the cap back, and then eventually it actually led to them banning out the cap because they didn't think they were going to win that back and forth. So curious to see if they've learned from that and just going to skip right past that part back to where they're finding success. But I do want to see some variance in their builds. It seems like they're just running this Ultron comp so consistently, and maybe it works against this comp, but if you're going to make it to that grand final, you need to find something else.
I think a big problem that we saw even with Virtus Pro is they tried to push the Penny composition too far, and we saw that again here with Team Liquid Citadel, focusing so much on that triple strat, just playing Penny every single map, and when it gets down to the wires, you got to be flexible enough to adapt, and we didn't quite see that, unfortunately, for Team Liquid Citadel. So it was a tough go of it for them, but hey, they can still bounce back in the lowers, and RAD would be a perfect warm-up if they do get that win to move on against Na'Vi.
But here's the important question. We're talking as if it's coming down to that lower bracket. We're talking about how much they can really do against each other, but can either of them do anything against this Na'Vi?
It's a loaded question. I feel like it's tough because like RAD historically has struggled against this Na'Vi roster. They've done decent on some of the domination maps, but as we've seen throughout stage 1, they've only dropped to Team Heretics and Virtus Pro. RAD has not gotten a win against Na'Vi, so I think maybe with the momentum there's potential, but if any team has the best chance, I think it's Team Liquid Citadel.
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with that, but I do think it's any given day with these teams, too. I think it's all about who shows up in that moment. TLC looked pretty good there. They struggled, obviously, towards the end, and I feel like they just lost momentum. But that being said, it's just still a rock, paper, scissors, I feel like, with these teams.
Well, you said that RAD have never taken a series versus Na'Vi, but they also have never been on a LAN stage before.
That's
They've
true.
never made it out of a LAN play-in stage before. They've never made it all the way to a lower bracket finals on LAN before. This is an event of firsts for so many of these teams, and it could be that redemption one for RAD, but Liquid Citadel really are sitting in their way, and it's high tension, it's high stress, it's high pressure. I am a little worried for all of these teams with Na'Vi sitting just looming over them, preparing, and now they get to study the survival match for these teams. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to a break. And when we come back, it will be 1, survival, and 2, ascension. Who will meet Na'Vi in the grand finals? Will it be RAD or will it be Liquid Citadel? We will find out after this.
This was inevitable.
There is only one path to peace, the Avengers' extinction.
Avengers, assemble!
Widow style.
Los Angeles, let me hear you! That's what we like to hear. Welcome back to the mid-season finals, and we are one series away from finding out our second team to join us in the grand finals. There is one more America's team left, one more home ground hero, but they still have another team to fight through. There is too much pressure, and there are two teams ready to fight for that grand final spot. So let's waste no time and start by introducing, hailing from EMEA, from MRC to the final stage is their journey, but they just have to win one more. Welcome, Rad! Leading the charge and standing tall on vanguards, Ducky and Lugia Goats. Causing chaos and finding KOs on Duelists, Crazy Kitty and Smashnez. And the ones keeping the team together and breaking enemies apart on Strategist, it's Vertigo and Mash. Hear it for Rad! And the last standing bastion of the Americas, the American champions looking to get the run back versus Na'Vi. Give it up for Team Liquid Citadel! Breaking lines and pushing dives on the vanguards, it's Polly and Veswa. With laser focus and devastating efficiency on the Duelist, it's Energy and Speedery. And in the backline, always ready and poised to strike in both offense and defense on the Strategist, Nero and Cooper. Let's get Polly and let's get Ducky over to the center of the stage for me, please, to say hi. Come on forward. Hello. A familiar sight for the two of you. I'm going to start off with Ducky. You were knocked down to the lower bracket by Team Liquid Citadel, but you also were knocked down to the lower bracket in the play-ins by 100 Thieves, and they're gone at your hands. Is this going to be the same?
I think it'll be the same.
Thinks it'll be the same. Polly, you've been sent down to the lower bracket. Found yourself in similar situations before, and now you're playing against someone you played against for almost the entirety of last year. Are you prepared to send Rad home?
Yeah, of course. It's whatever.
It's whatever he says. Ducky, this is your first time getting this far, or even to an international LAN for Marvel Rivals. I'm going to ask you a similar question. Are you truly ready to send Team Liquid Citadel home in front of a home crowd?
I mean, we should have beat them before, and this time I feel really confident we're going to beat them.
Polly, I'm going to ask you this question. Finish the sentence for me. Rad are...
Not good enough.
I'm going to widen it out a little bit for you here, Ducky. America as a region is...
Fake.
We're getting some fighting talk here. Starting with you, Polly. What words do you have for Rad before we head into the series?
Good luck, have fun.
And what words do you have for TLC?
Best of luck to all of you.
We started with some fighting talk, but we end nice. We love to hear it. We'll let you all get set up as we head over to our casters for this series. It's going to be Cozy and Gaskin.
Thank you so much, Tetra. Ducky, I'm standing right here. Fake. I mean, Gaskin, what is going on here? I mean, I can tell you one thing. I'm so excited for this rematch, excited to bring it in with you today because it was an electrifying match that we saw yesterday with them. Do you expect more of the same?
I think Rad would have learned a lot watching that series as well. You think about the preparation they would have been able to have whilst they were off stage. I think they're going to come in hot here. Rad, they are the giant killers at the moment. They've been able to take down VP. They take down Swamp Gaming. Maybe TLC could be next.
Yeah, it's a Cinderella story story versus that ticking clock that is what we think TLC trying to go to that grand finals. But to break it all down, we're going to be heading on over to the desk to see what's in store.
Thank you so much, Cozy. We have a new faces here with Leg Day and Ryan. It's an all EMEA crew, but we all live in America, so I think it's kind of apt that we're the ones to break this all down. Ryan, I mean, we saw, and you guys saw firsthand how things went with Team Liquid Citadel, but Rad, they have been the underdogs before, and they're here yet again.
They're really enjoying slaying some giants, I think, this event. And I think when it comes to Team Liquid Citadel, two massive organizations merging together, that is pretty much the biggest giant, the biggest bounty that you could claim here. And it's a $500,000 prize pool. 300K of it is today, so it is like making sure that you get the main share of that. Rads feel good about this overall. They're not even really scrimming at the moment. They're just sort of letting the vibes take them on the stage.
Well, looking ahead to this matchup, Team Liquid Citadel, it's rough because they're going to have to play the majority of the matches today if they move through here leg day 3 in a row. Coming off of that loss against Na'Vi, now into Rad, how do they lock back in?
How do they lock back in? Well, they just have to show how much they want it, Audible. That's the only thing they can do. They are looking at a potential 16-map day today after already getting 4 out of the way. This could go to 5, and then the finals could go to 7. But if they want to walk away with a lion's share of $500,000, they have to want it that much. They need absolutely no inch of tiredness to take over.
Well, we talked about the matchup we saw before between Rad and Team Liquid Citadel in the earlier bracket stages, and now seeing it again, you know, domination. They were 26-0 before we saw Na'Vi take them down on this very map. What can Rad learn from that matchup we just saw and make sure that they come out strong at this time, Ryan?
Rad can learn to win on this map because it hasn't been a good one for them. Like, it's pretty much been 3 losses in a row to VP and Team Liquid Citadel early at this event, but even like VP in the playoffs when they were down Lugia. Sure, like we have just seen Na'Vi be able to beat Team Liquid Citadel on this very map only a couple of hours ago, but it was a different style. I think the biggest thing for me is if Rad want to sort of copy the ideas that Na'Vi were running to try and beat Ultron Penny, whether they'd even let it go through draft kind of thing, or realistically, whether they feel good enough to actually take it on head on.
And the question is, like, are they going to look at what Na'Vi did and think, oh, it's been solved, we can copy that composition? Or are they thinking, okay, maybe Na'Vi didn't solve it, maybe Na'Vi were just mechanically better and able to outplay on the day? So for here, there's going to be a lot of onus on Coach Dennis to not only have his own plan, but to have really factored in the information that's been garnered from Na'Vi's previous victory.
And that's the big thing, right? Preparation is key. And we saw how well it worked against Swamp Gaming, another America's team in the lower bracket last time for Rad, who had all the preparation that they needed. Going into this one, we need a bit of a replication for that. But who are the keys to victory here, Ryan, from this Rad roster?
Mash, for sure. Like, I think his ability on Gambit has looked solid. Sure, there's a couple of mushy Mash ultimates, I think, with some of the Royal Flushes. But I think the way that he's able to build it up, how aggressive he is, him going toe-to-toe with Cooper, if there is that kind of Gambit head-to-head, is one to watch because both of them can throw hands as and when they need to. They're not just your typical like backline strategists. I'm going to heal everybody. I'm a pacifist. I don't like fighting. Both of these guys will start fighting on stage if you ask them to. I swear, like clobbering time for both of them. But it's like whether Rad can match up head-to-head. And honestly, I think for Team Liquid Citadel, I don't know if you like agree like that. It's just like how phased are you actually after you've lost this series? Were you sort of expected to? Do you have the temperament to be able to bounce back straight away?
Well, losing's a new thing for this team, so
That's
I'm not
true.
sure how good they are at taking it in stride, Vaughn.
I mean, we've seen them lose in an upper bracket final before against Swamp Gaming, and they were able to come back and win in the preseason. So Team Liquid Citadel, it's been a while. They'll have to brush off the history books and figure out exactly how they came back that time. But the big thing here for me is just locking in, right? You can't look too far back into the past about that series against Na'Vi. You got to focus on the one that you have here and now. And going right back to you, Leg Day, on this one, I mean, who do we really need to step up big for this Team Liquid Citadel team to get those spirits back up?
Well, like, Energy's had a great series thus far, but they get a touch out-competed by Jerky and Terra. But honestly, what I want to see is Vesper given the tools to be the hyper carry that he's supposed to be on this team. We saw the switch over towards the Magneto Protect coming through from Liquid Citadel, but do they need to put that earlier in their draft? Otherwise, it's going to be threatened by Rad and...
What?
Oh boy.
Yeah, people, for those viewers at home, you are currently seeing Rad actually first ban out Ultron, so the Mantis, for the first time this event, is open to play if Team Liquid Citadel want to protect it.
Dennis is cooking so hard. Dennis is cooking so hot. What is this?
He's cooking without the pan. The stove's not even on.
he's just got raw pasta on the stove.
Using the Los Angeles heat probably to cook some eggs or something of that sort. But yeah, there's going to be the Mantis first protect for the first time ever in the mid-season finals. And this is uncharted territory, but for Team Liquid Citadel here, Leg Day, this is a win con for them. They love triple strat.
I mean, yeah, they are triple strat merchants. We found that out during the last series. And Mantis can exist in that triple strat. And you've got the Adam as well, so you're looking at potentially a lot of resurrection power too. But honestly, when's the last time that Liquid Citadel would have scrimmed with a Mantis?
Probably forever ago.
That's the key one, right? Because it's been so much of the game plan for Team Liquid Citadel, even though it wasn't necessarily working. They're going for the Mantis and the Adam. So if you were sort of seeing the limits put onto Team Liquid Citadel's triple strategist composition, they're wide open with both Mantis and Adam available. Loki had to be banned out early, and with Black Cat also being banned out, Crazy Kitty's been hit. They want to try and protect the Daredevil, so they have something to work with.
The Luna Snow banned so that they don't have the Snowflake for the Daredevil there as well. Before we head to the casters here, I need a quick prediction. One word from each of you, starting with Leg Day.
Rad. Ballsy.
Team Liquid Citadel don't usually lose on domination, but you never know, it could be 2 for 2.
Can it be second time the charm here for Rad Esports, the lower bracket hopefuls, or will America's last hope take it forward to victory into the grand finals? Take it away, casters.
Thank you so much. I mean, what, 25-1 in domination? It is the MRC team versus the Dream Team. I mean, a loss like this, Gaskin, it would be, in comparison of college basketball, like the 16 seed to the 1. It's insanity, and what is even more insane is we get our first Mantis.
It is David versus Goliath, but they've already taken down 2 giants. And yes, let's address the elephant in the room. We're gonna see Mantis in pro play here in LA for the first time all tournament. And I said this on day 1. Someone should just give it to another team and see what they do with it. They're going to be under-practiced, it's underutilized. Are they going to be able to take full effect of what seems to be the best hero in the game right now, because it's been banned out completely all tournament long?
And with Ultron gone, Speeder going to have to rise up to the call again. Huge matchup, Speeder versus Kid. We have Coop versus Smash, Smash versus Energy. Look out, here we go. One of these teams finding their way, and it all starts here at the Hellfire Gala as we see the top end of the map.
We could look back at Rad just being an absolute genius when it comes to this lock and ban phase, or we could be laughing in our boots, depending on what happens here.
Absolutely love the smash pick here on Widow right away to go ahead and try to get a little bit more of that front-to-back poke game. Energy's going to have a big assignment there. Either way, the damage boost is going to equip him for everything he needs. Nero finds the first hit there. You can tell they're playing Angry Crazy Kitty the first down.
Crazy Kitty always a good person to take out. It just protects your backline, and now it's going to be a 6 versus 5 in this next engagement, and they should and will take control of this first point as Rad just back away. But Energy finds Smash, and that is always the best pick as well.
The good old cloak and stagger, right? I mean, with that, you have such great ult charge as well, fueling that fire. I mean, look at this Rody halfway through these ults as 12% is climbing. Energy is going to be on that hunt constantly to rise up to the call. Speedy, look for him to be close to fuel up all that damage.
Curious to see how TLC reacts to dropping to the lower bracket here, and Energy in particular. He was unbelievable in that upper final, and now a chance to try and prove himself once more and regain that chance to go back into it in the grand final.
Look at Best using these walls to help the team climb up to the top, get that high ground. That's so important. As we know, Mash is going to go in and get the Q down and give the momentum to Rad. Can they take use of it now? As Crazy Kitty's going to try to dive for the lawyer, even though blind is lethal. But Speedery going to be the first to find the laugh on Duck.
And his Mantis doesn't look so bad so far. Smash, though, has been such an important part on that Widow. Magneto will pop the Meteor M. Smash gets the follow-up as well. And now TLC, they drop off, but they have got a trade.
Yeah, great trade there. Cooper using that ult to keep them alive as much as possible. Crazy Kitty is going to be that it factor. Lugia getting a piece in the neutral as well, but Nero with the cocoon comes back, finds Lugia, and just like that, it's looking like TLC is holding strong. Vertigo going to go ahead and throw up the invisible boundary up in the air. Going for the three-pointer, slams down, finds Crazy Kitty.
Crazy Kitty done, eliminated off the server temporarily. Nero has Karmic Revival as well. Bear in mind, they are not going to need to use it so far. 70% now for TLC. Remember, these two teams did play here on Krakoa to start their series in the upper bracket. It was TLC who won this one quite comfortably against Rad.
Why they're the Dream Team, we've only seen them really lose twice, right? So what do they play like when they lose? Well,